Yo, fam, like, subscribe, follow, download. Giddy up.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Folks, Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Birds of a Feather, only on A2D Radio. We are brought to you by our doc. Got to make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill locations. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Listen, Dr. Paul Vidal, the GOAT, the best. You can find him on Sundays on Agree to Disagree. We talked about Joel Embiid's knee issue this past Sunday, and he told us, you know, it's probably like a three month, if not a month, sort of sit out here for him. So that's sort of what we expected. Not really 2 weeks because they'll reevaluate, but it has nothing to do with tonight. This is Birds of a Feather. Just had to mention the doc and Joel. We're gonna get Joel in as many times as we can. We would have won last night if we had him, but I know. There he is. Let us hear it. Tom Arnone, Pete Evans, Jeff Warner, the family out there. No Crumb tonight, no Chucks tonight. The show must go on. So we are here to talk about everything around the NFL. We'll do our no huddle at the end of the show. Zach Ertz trade destination. Where's he going? And is it really a trade destination? I don't think they're going to release him. I said this the other day. Why would you? He's 30 years old. Don't release him. You own him for another year per se. So you're not going to release him. You're going to trade him, or you're going to sign him to a deal. It's one of the two things. You're trade or new deal. But we'll talk about Ertz later on. NFL free agency reactions. We'll react to the Patriots. Obviously, the Dolphins. We were just talking about it. Got Will Fuller. There's a lot of teams. We're talking about Hill to the Rams. To the Rams to the Browns. So a lot of moving and shaking. A lot of guys. A lot of new faces and new places. And this is what you're getting. It's crazy. It's really been fun. It's a shame that we have nothing to bring to the table as Eagles fans. And that ties into our main topic at hand, which will be Eagles free agency, which goes right into our poll question that's brought to you by bodycheckwellness.com. And you can use promo code A2D. Get yourself 20% off at checkout. Bodycheck Wellness is a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Check them out. Bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D. 20% off. Our poll question is: the Eagles must sign a big name defensive back in free agency. You agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcast, we're there as well. Please like, please subscribe, please follow. If you want the Eagles, Kyle Fuller now available, Jeff just said before we came on. So before I came on, I was like, I don't know. How do I get wound up about this? How do I even talk about it when we don't have money? Like, besides like being able to back end money and convince a guy that way to come in, right? I mean, that's really the only way they can do it, because they don't have the money to do it. And then as soon as I'm thinking about all that, Kyle Fuller becomes available, and I can team him up with Darius Slay, and I can draft a young corner maybe in the second round and try to develop him, or in the third round behind two pros, and really look like a team that can compete a lot more in a division that is Dallas heavy, and that's it. Because you look at it, Vegas is telling you right there, we have the same odds to win this division as the Washington football team does. That's a lot. That tells me right there. So to me, I would say, hey, I know it's March, and I don't care about wins, losses in March, but to me, go try to win it. And if that's trading for Deshaun Watson, if that's running with what you have, if that's trying to be creative in free agency right now, because there's not a lot out there. So how can you be creative and fill a hole like that right now? And you can back end the money. Just give them more guaranteed money than anybody else is going to give them. Simple as that. And then make the deal a little longer. Less money this year, but hey, next year comes in, brand new house, brand new car, and a lot of interceptions. Giddy up. Let's go. I was going to disagree because I said how with money, but then you told me that, Jeff. I fully disagree. Gentlemen, go ahead. I figured I'll just get it off my chest early because I had no idea how they're going to do it. But yes, Kyle Fuller, you do it. Do it.
Go ahead, Pete.
So, I mean, I really don't know who may be out there outside of Fuller. I mean, we saw Patrick Peterson sign a 1-year deal with Minnesota, I believe. I mean, so it depends on what you describe as a big name, like what big name is available. Kyle Fuller will definitely be an upgrade. Real quick before I continue, shout out to all the fam that's rocking with us. You know, we got our regulars, Bryce, Don, I see you. Hey, we welcome all. We welcome all. Tom built it, so they will come. They're here. Pound that like, pound that subscribe, and we'll rock out with you 7 days a week. I feel like sometimes it's only 5, but 7 days a week, content hitting you every day. Niche sports, you know, we got hockey happy hour tonight. So, but in the moment right now, I don't know what you consider a big name. And if the question is upgrade, hell yeah, they can fucking upgrade. They need to upgrade. I mean, you don't know what you have in these young guys, and if you could ask me this last year at this time when Rasul and Sydney were still here, I know we don't want to. I'm not trying to rip open a wound, but you were in a position possibly where somebody like Kyle Fuller becomes available. You don't necessarily need to take a look at him because you'd rather be in this position because now you can actually give players time to develop and play. But yeah, I mean, Fuller is definitely an upgrade. I don't know how they would do it. I think they're really waiting to see what other players may get cut to kind of swoop in. And seeing what these guys really could do on a prove it deal. If you get Fuller for 1 year, and that's the thing. I don't think we talked about it enough here on all the platform, on all the shows on the platform that talk about football, and even in the mainstream and in antique dial talk. They're in a 1 year stopgap. You know what I mean? So you really can sell maybe a Kyle Fuller, maybe I'm not sure if they would do a Kenny Golladay or somebody like that. To be like, listen, we don't have the money this year. We can give you a 1 year deal, upload it with signing bonuses and have a very low cap hit. And then next year, when they do have money, they can revisit it and give maybe Kyle Fuller an extension. You know what I mean? I would try to get Kyle Fuller before Dallas gets Kyle Fuller. I mean, because that's what they need. They need defense. I mean, and TA just talked about the odds from Vegas and being somewhat similar. They're showing you in this division, there's not a clear-cut front runner for this division. You know what I mean? They're showing you that Vegas is showing you that these lines came out after Ryan Fitzpatrick signed with Washington. So they're not a true believer in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, maybe in that defense, but he's not moving the needle that much. You know what I mean? So I disagree to the poll from the fact that I don't know what big names are out there. You know what I mean? I don't consider any of these free agent DBs that are out there like groundbreaking. You know what I mean? Kyle Fuller may be the best one, and you can get him on the cheap.
Hopefully. You hope.
Hopefully. I mean, they need it because Jonathan Gannon's defense, Kyle Fuller is a good mix because he could play press, he could play zone, and that's what I think Jonathan Gannon is going to do. You know what I mean? And he comes from that Mike Zimmer type of mentality defense that they ran in Cincinnati, and they were DBU for a while. I mean, outside of 2018 when they played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game where this didn't matter, but other than that, they were known for their DBs. You know what I mean? They draft DBs all the time. They find DB talent. So take Kyle Fuller. That solves one problem for you right there. If you're somehow able to land Kyle Fuller, you have your two corners. You know what I mean? Now this doesn't force you at 6 to draft the Patrick Surtain to maybe a slight reach, or to draft somebody or try to get back around and try to draft J.C. Horn or take a look at Asante Samuel. Maybe you can take a look at a guy like Newsome who may not be as polished, but athletically is just as gifted. You know what I mean? Maybe you can tell the first 2 rounds, okay, I don't need to go there. You know what I mean? And maybe a more position of need with a higher player that maybe like a Jabril Cox or something like that, or like Dylan Moses or somebody like that. It's because now if you're in the second round, would they pick 37 time? Is that correct? I believe 37 and 70 and 70th. So if you're at 37 and then you got Dylan Moses on the board or Asante Samuel Jr. and you have Kyle Fuller, that makes the decision easier for you. You know what I mean? You just go Moses at that point because you really have no young top end talent in the linebacker position whatsoever. So I disagree with the poll. That's the easy part. The hard part is them fucking making it happen.
Yeah, I would say you guys both made great points, and I would say this is a league where it's a passing league, and you need two quality corners in this league, especially with this division. I would say with the Dallas Cowboys now re-signing Dak Prescott, they have Amari Cooper, they have CeeDee Lamb, the Washington football team, they have McLaurin, they just signed Curtis Samuel. So the Giants, they signed Kyle Rudolph, and they have some weapons on that offense. So especially in this league, it's a passing league. You need to shut down the passing game. And the one thing that this team lacked, especially on the defensive side of football in the secondary, was the quarterback position. I would say Darius Slay had a subpar season, and then I would say you're going to have a little bit of an overturn with the cornerback position that you lose Jalen Mills. He signs with the New England Patriots on a 4-year deal, $24 million contract, completely overpaid. I'll say they haven't re-signed LeBlanc. Nicole Roby-Coleman, our slot corner, Gem from last offseason, who was a bust, he's moving on. So I would say they have a lot of overturn in the secondary already, and they need to solidify that position earlier rather than later. So I agree with the poll. They need to go out there and make a big-time free agent, but like what Pete said, there's not many options out there. Kyle Fuller just became available because he was a cap casualty, and we don't even know if he's going to be interested in coming here. Like we brought up, we're not the only team that is strapped with cash. And you see a lot of these deals, people are either overpaying for guys or they're giving them a lot of short-term prove-it type of deals because next year's salary cap is going to go through the roof again. And I think that's why the Eagles are a little bit standing pat. I know people are disappointed that our big free agent signing, which was today, they did sign a safety. What was his name? Crap. Andrew Adams. Yeah, Andrew Adams, they signed. I would say he's a safety, but he's going to be a backup, a special teamer. He's basically going to fill in that Rudy Ford role, but they need to do something, especially in the secondary, because we were getting torched too much last season, and now I'll say with the amount of overturn, I'll say it's just going to get worse. So they need to either address it earlier in free agency, like going after a Fuller, and I'll say there's not many other names out there. I know everyone wants to link us to a couple Colts free agents, Malik Hooker and Xavier Rhodes, but we don't even know if they want to come here. We're now, 4 days into free agency. We haven't even heard one word about the Eagles even looking at these guys. So,
and why would I want Malik Hooker coming off an Achilles? Like if it's an ACL, I'll take him right now. I'll take him right now off an ACL, but I expect him to have a down year off an Achilles, right? And Xavier Rhodes is 90, so I can sit out on Xavier Rhodes. Now, there's other names out there that aren't big names, but no, he just signed. So that he just signed with the Texans. Desmond King was a guy that you could look at. I know he's playing more safety, but you're talking about D-backs in general. So he's a guy you can look at, sign with the Texans, 1 year, $3.5 million. So there isn't, what do you go after? Keanu Neal, not a great player. There's nothing really out there.
Without Keanu Neal's knee, we don't win the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that.
True. So bring his knee in here. Well, he hasn't been as good since the knee either. It's his own knee because he tore his knee.
He tore his shit the year after, right?
Year after, yep. Listen, I would overpay for Kyle Fuller, and I know people say, "Well, time I overpay." Blah, 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 blah. But no, because I believe that you can win if you don't try to win this year, you really can try to win next year, and you can have him. So you could come in the next year with Slay and Fuller. Not this year coming up, the following with Slay and Fuller, and feel really good about yourselves. And you could do a little bit what Andy did with them two is that next year's draft, go draft both their damn replacements in the second round or the third round or whatever, right? Go do what he did with Lito and Sheldon. Go do some of that. So to me, it's not about trying to win the division this year, but in reality, it's wide open. I don't think I don't think anybody should talk about us winning it after 4 wins. And we've gotten worse. But if you can team up two D-backs that are high caliber and put them with this front who led the league in sacks last year, something that we've been missing, guys, has been turnovers. So you would hope that maybe now we would be able to create some more turnovers because we have good secondary play and the pass rush to get home. That's how I look at it. It's a no-brainer in terms of him or taking Surtain at 6 any of that stuff's a no-brainer to me. So if I'm not signing Kyle Fuller, then I'm going with Sartain. But if they like in their thick skulls, because this is what they left open today. Now that could be owner talk and GM talk, but in reality, they obviously shouldn't, but they didn't deny that they would take a quarterback at 6 either.
No, they didn't.
So that's like on the board. Now that can be, again, to try to play coy with people, get people to trade up, move back, whatever. But don't be surprised. And now if they go that route or even think about it, which they should all be fired if they do.
Yeah.
Okay, then you're missing out on other. It's too much to deal with right now. Like it's just too much to deal with because nothing's happening and nothing can happen because of money. And they're really playing coy now with the pick. Like, oh well, if a quarterback we love's there, that's our philosophy. That's our philosophy. So how many years are we going to go off of that philosophy when you keep missing on your own philosophy?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say the one thing to look at, I'll say the one thing that we have praised Howie Roseman over the course of him being a GM here in Philadelphia is he's a trade wizard. And I'll say in today's press conference, it was brought up, I forget what the exact question was, but Howie, to sum it up, basically said that he feels that those picks are assets. And now that they got a extra seventh round pick from the whole Marquise Goodwin debacle, they now have 11 selections. So in his eyes, if there's a team like maybe before the Bears decide to cut Kyle Fuller, maybe the Eagles try to get wind of someone possibly going to be released and they want to work out a deal with the team so they get some type of compensation for him. So there's a lot of things that Howie can work with, and I'll say behind the scenes that we don't know yet, because I'll say no one expected Kyle Fuller to get released today. So there might be another guy down the road or further in the free agency before they're due a signing bonus or this or that he might pull the trigger and move on one of these late round picks.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about turnovers, the one thing about Jim Schwartz is that Jim Schwartz gave you what he gave you. He didn't disguise a lot. And I think with this defense, you're going to see more disguises to where it's going to try to confuse offenses a little bit better, more some drop zones. But at the same time, you had a lot of guys that put their hands on the ball in the DB in the cornerbacks area, but just couldn't catch it. So when it comes to it, but Fuller makes sense. I've seen a couple. I'm looking at the chat. I see a couple of people say maybe take a flyer on Stephon Gilmore. I don't know. I think Belichick right now, if he knew Kyle Fuller would have been released, he probably wouldn't have signed Jalen Mills to 4 years, $24 million. I know he would have did that.
Who said take a flyer on Stephon Gilmore?
It was a while ago. Somebody said offer a first round 22 for Stephon Gilmore.
That's not a flyer.
Yeah,
that's significant investment.
Yeah. I just want to confirm. I mean, that's the top 3 corner in football.
I'll tell you right now, if I can flip that conditional second that we got from Indy into Stephon Gilmore right now, I would probably do that. I would do that ASAP.
Pete, you know me.
I hear what you're saying.
Pete, you know me long enough. What do you want? I got 11 picks. I'll trade picks for players under a certain age
all day.
Every day. Up here you go. 1, I don't hit them. So 2, I might as well let you try to hit them, and I'll take somebody that you hit on. It's like it's what I want. So Denard, whatever. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but he says Howie not a horrible GM. People just don't know football. I disagree with that. I would say he doesn't know football. He's the one who's missed on all these picks. So he might be great at making trades and the cap. That doesn't mean he knows football, right? That just means he knows how to put Band-Aids on things or make good deals. And maybe when it comes to making trades, maybe he relies on his scouting department like he should.
Yeah, and listen, and the scouting department, from what we heard out of the McLean story, which was fairly decent, is that they're teeing up the right guys. Like they're teeing up Justin Jefferson. They're teeing up Jeremy Chin. It's just that the people with power are going a different way. I will say this, Tom, real quick to your point before you go, Jeff, and chime in real quick. When you said about do you go win the division this year or do you try to put yourself in position to win it next year? I will say this, and this is also speaks to the press conference we had today and them not being committal at 6, what they want to do, which do the coach speak, do that, hold your cards close to your vest because you haven't been doing that because teams have been reading you like a transparent glass, like they're looking at you through a window. In this division, we have the one player that's the wild card that can have the biggest impact on the season, and that's Jalen Hurts. If he plays well and he plays above expectations, You've seen what it takes for defenses. If he can figure out how he can be more efficient from the pocket and still have his ability to run, I'm going to say the sky's the limit, but the division is a limit. You know what I mean? It's there to be had. What the Giants are doing so far to this point isn't concerning me. Dallas doesn't have the money to really do too much. They're kind of in a position just like us, and they just gave $40 million to Dak Prescott. And what Washington's done so far to this point, I mean, I'm not scared of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Would you stop it, though? This is what we do here. Every other team I'll agree with you on is trash. All right? Trash. Trash can,
right.
trash can. Washington defense outside of their front is trash. I don't care what anybody has to say. It's trash. Their front's extremely good, but outside of that, it's not like it's not a Crown City all over the place. Like their corners, now Darby's gone. He played well for them last year. So they're not in the – it's not like they're loaded. When you talk about the Giants, good defense, their offense is unknown. Even if they go get Kenny Golladay, it's unknown, their offense, until Daniel Jones proves he can play in this league. It's as simple as that. And then you talk about the other team, the Dallas Cowboys, and nobody wants to hear it. And I'm the biggest Eagles fan out there, just like you guys are. That team is loaded, and I don't care what anybody has to say anymore. Like I'm not gonna hear it that nope. I know their defense was atrocious. I get it. Their quarterback's ankle was hanging on the turf, right? So let's be real. Their offense is flat out explosive. They got a high pick this year that they can use for defense, whatever, right? And they're right there now. It's good. Their secondary's not good right now, right? We know
they did re-sign Lewis, so I would say they were able to retain one of their cornerbacks at least.
Is that Jordan Lewis out of Michigan?
Yeah,
I think doesn't he play in the slot for them? He doesn't play outside, right?
No, I think he's a slot guy, but I'll say they had a lot of turnover heading into free agency on the defense side of the football, especially the secondary. So I know from what I saw from free agency that they were at least able to retain him.
Yeah,
so Tom, do you want? I'm gonna let you jump in this one. If you pull up Red Sand's last comment, and we've been there, done that. No, not that one. The most recent one.
Most recent.
Should have just kept Mills.
Should have just kept Mills and let him play. They did that for how long did they do that, Tom? How did that experiment work out?
Too long.
Yeah.
And then they tried to bring him back as a freaking safety. He couldn't play there. Moving back the corner, he still sucked. So.
Well, I'll say this: if Bill went and spent money on him,
he has a plan for him. Trust me.
Definitely. And
I bet you he goes and plays really well there.
He probably will. Belichick always finds the best out of his players. Look at Patrick Chung, for instance. He was a gem there. Heads over here to free agency during free agency one year, sucks. Heads back to New England, helps them win another Super Bowl in that span, or make another Super Bowl. They lost to us. So I'll say he's going to find something for Jalen Mills, and I'll say we don't know. It could have been the system. We keep on bringing up old names like Russell Douglas and Darby and Sidney Jones, who had played well. So after they left here, so it could have been Schwartz. We'll find out and see, especially Gannon working with some of the players that Schwartz couldn't get success from last season. I'll say he's going to be a key to that success, especially in the secondary. But I'll say
you guys think this is a good defense if I read you off this defense right here?
Hell no.
No, I'm going to read you off a defense. I'm just going to read you off a defense. All right. I'm going to read you off it. DeMarcus Lawrence, Antoine Woods, Kristen Hill, Randy Gregory, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, Jordan Lewis, Donovan Wilson, I don't know, Reggie Robinson, I don't know, and Trayvon Diggs. An okay defense?
A lot of potential. A lot of talent. And once again, like here in the city of Philadelphia, that we keep on bringing up the coaching staff, I'll say the coaches need to put their players in position to find success. I'll say they didn't do it in Dallas last year. We didn't do it here in Philly. I'll say DeMarcus Lawrence is a sack machine. He's a former Pro Bowler. Van Der Esch is a tackling machine. Diggs is a quality corner corner, right? He plays.
He's a corner,
yeah, corner. So I'll say there's some talent on that defense. I'll say if that's what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, that's all. Like they are a talented group on offense and defense. Does that mean it's always going to work to their favor? No, I'm not going to say it's always going to work to their favor because it hasn't in years past, right? But in terms of winning this division and being the big bad wolf on the block right now, the big bad bully, they essentially are talent-wise. Now, would I live up to it? I completely agree with what Pete said. We have the biggest wild card in this division, quarterback-wise, because we don't know we don't know. Nobody knows after 4 games what he is, nor would it be fair to say what he is. So, we have our opinions through college and what we think of him, but it doesn't mean that's written in stone. So, this is a big year to see what he is. So, this division's open, but not open, but open. And it's a weird year for us. We can't expect to be good.
Right.
If it happens, it happens.
We just got to hope that
this is the most indifferent coming into a season I've ever felt, where I'm like, just let it play out. I have no expectations.
Yep.
I have no expectations. I have no expectations to be good. I have no expectations to be bad. I'm just like I'm here. I'm just blah. Like I feel like my fandom towards this team this year is Marshawn at the podium. I'm here so I don't get fined. Like I do this, you know what I mean? Who knows where we'll be, where HED will be. Hopefully sky's the limit for us as a platform, but I have to watch the games. I'm going to talk about it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'm still a fan, but I have no expectations. I mean, like Brinkman just said, if you want my enthusiasm, go trade for Watson. You know what I mean? Who right now may not want to offer three first round picks, maybe 2 now because of what we're hearing coming out. If he's going to miss some time, depending on how valid these claims are. But in cancel culture, all it takes is somebody, 1 or 2 people, to start saying some bad things about you, and then it turns into a big ass snowball from there.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that side of it, but what I will comment on is, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
You want Ertz? You want? I don't care. Listen, whatever's going on out there, what I mean? Whatever. I'll let it play itself out. But you want 3 firsts? You want Ertz?
Here you go.
You want 2 firsts, Ertz, and a second, right? Maybe a 4th thrown in. Like, yes, do it.
I don't even know if it's going to take that much to get Watson now. I would say just from the allegations, and then they also signed Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year pretty decent sized contract. So I would say they already killed any trade leverage that they had. Yep. The fact that they gave Tyrod Taylor that type of deal. Granted, it's a short-term deal, 1-year contract, but by paying him that much, in your eyes, Deshaun's on his way out. You expect Tyrod to come in here and be your starter most likely. I'll say it might not take as much as we're expecting, I would say, for Deshaun Watson. And I'll say the only way it gets done, it has got to happen before the draft. But and the thing is, if you invest that much of compensation, what are you going to? You're going to be in the same position going forward, I would say, because you invested all that compensation. You're not going to be able to build around Deshaun Watson, whether it's Watson or Jalen Hurts, if whoever would be at quarterback, if you gave up that much draft picks.
But I feel like Watson is that guy, one of those rare guys that you can take. You don't need premier talent around. He's showing what he could do in Houston. You know what I mean?
They're still a losing football team.
Yeah, but can you do this, right, real quick? There's a ton of people watching on YouTube. Listen, pound that like button for us. Pound that subscribe. He makes your football team better. You've already invested into your offense. You have to have confidence in your scouting department to be able to go hit on later picks, to be able to go hit in the 2nd round, to be able to hit in the 3rd round, right? And knowing that, okay, if I gave up 2 firsts, Hurts, and a 2nd and a 4th for him, say, right, I still have a 1st next year coming from Indy. So I'm not like totally losing 1st round picks year in, year out. I have a stopgap in the middle, and I would expect that the second you sign him and the second you put yourself into the conversation for this division, you have the best quarterback in this division.
Yep.
I'll say the thing to your point, I would say we don't even know if Houston would want. I know everyone wants to throw Jalen Hurts into this trade bait. We don't even know if Houston would even want Jalen Hurts. I would say as part of compensation as 1, and 2. I would say we just got rid of a high-paid quarterback with Carson Wentz, and that didn't work out after giving him a long-term deal. So I would say I don't know though. I know Deshaun just got a contract with Houston last offseason, so I don't know if they would trade him, how that affects his contract or guaranteed money or what we would pay year in and year out. But if you make that deal and it doesn't at least I would say, yes, I agree with you. He makes your team a lot better, but if you don't have at least a deep playoff run, and I'll say, or build talent on the defense side of football or win football games, that's a waste. And I'll say, I don't know. I love Deshaun, but we need to know what we have with Jalen Hurts. We drafted him in the 2nd round for a reason, but after today, if I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm pissed. I'll say after that press conference, the fact that they were asked, is Jalen Hurts your starter? Is you're going to be your guy going to 2021? Knowing the fact that you just moved on from the guy that you paid $120 million and now has the biggest dead cap salary you're taking in NFL history with Carson Wentz sending him to Indy, and you still can't commit to him for at least this one season?
That's if I'm Jalen, I'm like, okay, well, that's what they did to Wentz.
Exactly. I would be pissed.
But he, to me, in that situation, I wouldn't, because they kind of already did it to the guy before you. And I think, I will say this, I think Hurts has a better temperament to handle that and use it as fuel the way that this fan base wants our quarterback to play. Where he'll turn that into, okay, I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you that I'm the guy. You know what I mean? He'll do. I'm not saying that he'll be successful, but that's the kind of mentality I think he's going to have to it.
Oh, he's definitely different than Carson. I'll say he's not soft like Carson getting hurt if someone turns on him. I'll say Hurts is a leader, Hurts is a competitor, no doubt about that. But I don't know. You just hope there was some type of backup from management and from your head coach with that press conference and saying, "Hey, Hurts right now he is the guy because he's the only quarterback on the roster. So they're going to add someone eventually."
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you about this organization. All what we already know. I mean, this is why people out there say, "Tom, you're wrong about Watson. You're wrong. We need the picks, A, B, C, D." Not with this organization. I need stars. I need stars. Carson Wentz obviously wasn't a star anymore. Wasn't a star. Right? We can talk about everything A, B, C, and D. Wasn't a star. Wasn't playing at a high level at the quarterback position. Really, and it's gone down every year since 2017. Let's just be real. Right? And I'm a Carson supporter. Right? His play outside of that 5-game stretch last year, then the year where he played well against Miami, etc. Besides that, it wasn't good football. Okay? It hasn't been for anybody. So we can blame A, B, C, and D. He didn't play good enough. So now we move on. Now, I completely agree with you, Jeff. I'm the one yelling, "Don't draft the quarterback," because this is Hurts' job. Now, not every day does a 25-year-old franchise quarterback become available because the organization that he's at is a dumpster fire. That doesn't happen every day. So when that happens, you're like, you got to pick up the phone and find out, what do you want? You know, and I would think they want Hurts because it's a cheap deal for somebody that has control of for the next X amount of years, right? They would want it, right? And you assume maybe you can get away without giving them 2 players, where now you can give them a little bit less, like to your point, where I don't have to give them 2 firsts, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer. If I could give them Hurts and 2 firsts and a third or something, where do I sign up at? Now, if I'm giving 3 firsts, a third, then I'm starting to hear. I get it.
Too much.
The only reason I would even contemplate giving you 2 and feeling fine about it is you can take this year, the only reason I'll give you 3 is because you can take this year, next year, and the year after. But I know I have a first, hopefully from Carson, coming from Indy next year to sort of sandwich in the middle of it,
right?
And make it where I'm not going 3 straight years without a first-round pick. You know.
Now, and the other thing is, if you'd have asked me this 2 years ago and we had this press conference, I would have given the organization a benefit of the doubt. To where, like I've seen somebody say, you can't give all the leverage away. You don't want to. If you come out and you say we're definitely not drafting a QB at 6, you kind of how it works in the behind the circles. So then, but I can't. They haven't shown me anything for me to believe that. Okay, them not saying they're not drafting a quarterback at 6 or just definitely off the board doesn't mean that they necessarily won't draft one. And now they could dip back into their typical organization speak and be good and be like, okay. They want a QB to be on the board at 6, so that way if somebody else behind them wants to come up and come get them. But this organization hasn't done anything in the last 2 years the right way, in my opinion, and mostly around the league. It's for me to give them that type of faith. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, just football wise, I want Hurts to get the chance to start. And it would be nice for a quarterback in this city not to have to look over his shoulder or worry about how people in the organization feels about him. I'm just going to say that.
Organization. I mean, that's one thing to deal with, right? It's one thing to deal with an organization. He's got to deal with rabid animals like ourselves and an organization that's incompetent right now. Right now, they're incompetent. I don't. 2017 feels like you fell into it by accident now, right? It almost feels like you just fell in the shit. And good for you, okay? And good for us that we enjoyed it. But that's what it feels like now, right? I'll say this. And I'll give you guys a little question here because none of us want a quarterback at 6. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
This will make it a little fun. If we had to, right? Double, right at the head, hypothetical gun. I love that movie too. You never put a hypothetical gun to your therapist's head. Love it. Love it. So hypothetical gun to your guy's head. If you had to take one at 6, and let's just say, I mean, what do we think is going to be there? I mean, we don't think Wilson or obviously Lawrence is going to be there. We don't think Wilson is going to be there either. So this say that 2 guys are gone.
So you're looking at Fields. You're looking at Fields, Lance, and Mac Jones.
Which one of them 3 are you taking at 6?
So we know the track record of Ohio State quarterback. So Fields to me is right there off the table.
Yeah, he's third.
Yeah.
So it's Lance and Mac Jones.
Or do you agree with Chris Sims? And
You gonna go Kellermond?
Listen, I will punt. Listen. I love my dogs, but I maybe not my dogs, but I will punt like a Shih Tzu across the street. If Kellermond's the biggest 6, I'm done. And listen, he can be the greatest player in the world. I'm still done for a minute.
I'll probably go Mac Jones first, man. That's a lot because he can spin it, and you look at, if you're just looking at somebody that can just throw the football and play in the pocket, he doesn't give you any X factor shit. But you talking about somebody that can just put the ball where it needs to be. I'll probably go because Lance. If I'm looking long term, like I know I'm gonna be bad for a couple of years, I'll probably go trade Lance first. If I know I'm not trying to win for 2 or 3 seasons, I'm going to trade Lance out of that. But Justin Fields is still third, and then Mac Jones will be second. But if I'm trying to get back on track and get back to the playoffs as soon as I can, I probably will end up taking Mac Jones first.
See, I would go ahead, Jeff.
No, I agree. I would say I agree with Pete. I'll say Mac Jones. If it was between Lance and Mac, I try to follow the draft as best I can. Just from what I've been reading, I would say a lot of people are pretty impressed with Mac Jones and the way he plays. But I would say even if those guys are there right now, I would say after hearing Adam Schefter talk this week and from what he said, he feels there's going to be a run of quarterbacks before the Eagles. So I would say that leaves us the opportunity. I know we're all worried whether Devontae Smith or Chase or Pitts or one of these guys are going to be available. I would say if Schefter's right and there's a run at quarterbacks, the Eagles have their picking on who they want to choose as far as the skill position. So I would say, and of course, you're not going to please everyone in this fan base and in this city. But hey, if they can pick up one of those 3 guys, I'll be splendid. Passing the quarterback, give Hurts the opportunity and allow him to work with some young talent and some decent players. I would say hopefully Jalen Reagor has a rebound season. You have another playmaker with one of those guys, Pitts, Chase, or Smith. Miles Sanders coming back. Hopefully he has a rebound season from last year and he's utilized a little bit better in Sirianni's offense. So I know we keep on saying that. I would say there's still a possibility that they take a quarterback, but with that much talent at the skill position and them missing out on so much talent over the last couple of years, and just the reports of them about Lurie wanting to build around Jalen Hurts because you need to know what you have since you invested a 2nd-round pick for him last year. Honestly, I feel that's the way they're going. I would say we can talk quarterback or who we would take a quarterback all we want. I do not see them pulling the trigger on any one of those guys.
Listen,
they need elite talent. They need elite skill positions, and that's where Chase or Pitts or Smith. I mean, and they've been in Dallas in the Fort Worth area at the Exo Center. You've seen Jalen Waddle was down there. I think Smith is down there. If I'm not mistaken, Chase may or may not be there. That's why I feel like.
Listen, real quick. I agree with everything you guys are saying. That's why we played a little hypothetical, right? And I think they're playing coy with other teams. Since you guys both took Mac Jones there, I would go Lance just because. Okay, I can't
play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I can't believe I'm going back to that school again. But I mean, if you watch them, the raw ability's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how good he is from the pocket, etc. But in terms of making plays, it's there. But I mean, don't you have that here? So, don't you have a run around quarterback here? They can make plays. So, go ahead, Pete. But that's
No, and then real quick, like Jesse Davis says, take certain defense is much worse than the offense. But you can scheme defense with lesser talent than you can scheme offense with lesser talent. You know what I mean?
That and I would say just from hearing Chuck's on previous shows, I would say he's high on a lot of day 2 and day 3 defensive backs that feel you can get better value. I would say this is from what I've read and from I've been hearing from people. It's somewhat of a deep draft class when it comes in the secondary. Don't get me wrong, Surtain, he can be a playmaker. He can be a difference maker. I would say him on the opposite side with a Darius Slay in this defense with Gannon. I would say you could have your future for the next 4 or 5 years, depending how long Darius Slay would play. But like you said, we're getting talks that I would say that these wide receivers and these playmakers are possibly generational type of talent in this year's draft. These guys don't come up year in and year out. Everyone's saying, oh, you can take a wide receiver next year. We've been doing this for how long? We invested in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside with a second-round pick. We invested Jalen Reagor. I understand we drafted Quez Watkins and John Hightower. We drafted 3 wide receivers last season, but those guys are developmental guys. It's going to take them time to adjust. I know we have to understand what those guys have, but when you can get a playmaker like one of these guys in the top 3 to improve your team, when we know how bad our wide receiving core was last season, you have to do it.
So real quick, Scoob-Doo. Listen, Scoob-Doo. You said look at defense wins championships. Look at Tampa. Tampa's defense was the same defense it was the year before when they was losing. What was the biggest? Tom Brady was the biggest.
And Gronk, getting Gronk.
You two, though, I love you both. You two are wrong per se. And hear me out why. You're not wrong in the talent in this draft. You're not wrong about it at all. Not wrong about good second day guys, day 2 guys, day 3 guys. None of that. All right. My only thing is that we're going there again. That's not you missed. Last year, maybe missed last year. You went there with JJ. Looks like you missed, right? So, I mean, how many times are you going to go back to wide receivers when you have a guy like Fulgham that, you're paying nothing to? See what you have. You have Hightower, Watkins, who have shown glimpses that they can make big plays. Glimpses from a rookie guys. And you drafted a wide receiver in the first round last year in Reagor, and you still have JJ. So, I mean, to me, I understand. I'm not gonna be mad if they draft Jamar Chase, right? There's no getting mad. I'm gonna be mad if they draft Smith. I'm gonna sit back and say to myself, "Oh shit, are they missing again?" No matter who I have ranked higher, are they missing again?
Because if you try to get cute and you take Surtain or Farley at 6,
that's not. Oh, you stop it, Surtain.
Let me talk. Let me say this.
12 years. Revis Island, Pete. Revis Island cute. Was Revis Island?
Listen, I've seen Surtain and them hips ain't loose, bitch.
Oh, would you stop it, Daddy?
Listen, I'm just being honest. Be honest with you. But when biggest thing I said it last year.
Hold on, you've watched a lot of college football. Have you ever seen in a national championship semifinal game a guy not get thrown at when his team's up 30? Have you ever seen that?
What I didn't. No,
his hips are good. His hips are good. I'm just kidding. Hips are good.
But no, what I'm saying to you, they have to. And you said, can we go back there again? That's why they have to dumb it down and take this. Go chalk. You have to get the elite talent at whatever position it is. So that way, your evaluators are saying the same thing. That way you take, because we know they can't evaluate DBs like that. If this was last year, they may have taken Jeff Okudah or something like that if they was ranked higher, because I don't trust them to make their own decisions to the point to where Howie's going to listen. Where I think Chase, Smith, and then if you want to look at potentially Surtain or Pitts, where they haven't ranked, but I think on their board they're going to have Chase and Smith first.
Because you two at first, Chase or Smith.
I have Chase first. I mean, to me, I have Chase first because I feel like his game translates better to the league.
Right, now
bigger body.
Now you're gonna put Tom on an island again on agree to disagree. You're gonna put me on an island again.
I just don't know if Smith can.
What? Get open?
No, he can get open. I'm not worried about that. He could definitely get open.
Dog knows. That's the dog. Bark.
Yeah, that's it. My daughter just came over, so I'm worried about just how durable his body's going to be. And the thing is, and this is what people are not talking about enough. We kind of heard, you're starting to hear it now. Before Waddle got hurt, Waddle was on track. Smith wasn't the guy. Like, he wasn't that dude. It plays out, you can't account for injuries, but I would not be surprised ultimately on draft day if Waddle is taken before Smith. I'm being honest with you.
Oh, I hear you on that. But we're talking about the Heisman Trophy winner wasn't the dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the guy who ain't caught 20 touchdown passes. He's pretty much the dude. Like, I don't care who's ahead of you. Somebody can go reach on Waddle. I hear you. Waddle, listen, you get banged up, availability is your best ability. Right? Best ability is availability. And when you get banged up, that's question marks. That's what makes Pitts a question mark at 6. That's what makes him a question mark inside the top 10 for any of these guys. So, the thing is, I'm right there with you. Like, Chase probably, chasing your off gives you a little unknown, right? But when you watch him play, he's a pimp. So, like, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. I think right now Smith might be a better route runner.
Yeah,
and he sort of has to be. But I don't think. I think either way, you don't go wrong there. Like, I think if it was Smith or Chase, I sit back and say I feel good if they went wide receiver.
But then, like, what if Doomsday? Like we're saying, what if Pitts and Chase are going at 6? What do you do then? How does Howie?
Coy. That's why you played Coy this whole time. That's why you have been committed to your quarterback. So now you can say, okay, my guy's not there. Who wants their quarterback? Who wants him? Come get him. We need draft capital. And then I flip the draft capital for Watson during the draft. Can you do that? Or does it have to be like before it?
No.
Yeah, right.
You can trade any pick that hasn't been selected anytime.
Oh, I'll be like Sonny Weaver up in there. I'm like Sonny Weaver. I'm flipping, moving, shaking. Boom, I come out with the Deshaun Watson. Still have first round pick somehow. And people are going to be like, look at Howie Hero. I trade back though, Pete.
Yeah, you hope. And then hopefully you trade back. I keep saying you're not hearing shit out of Denver. I thought Denver may have been in talks with the Wentz whole thing. If Denver at 9, if you pray to God that you hope that Matt Jones should definitely be there, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But if Justin Fields some way is still on the board at 6, or if Trey Lance is still on the board at 6, you hope that you can talk Denver in and say, hey, come up, we'll switch 9 and give us a second, or give us whatever. You move back, you still stay in front of Dallas, because at that point, I mean, you got, I think at 7 you have Detroit. They're probably definitely taking a wide receiver.
Yep.
And at 8 you have Carolina.
Yep.
Who may take a quarterback. They may go tackle. They may go QB. They may go Trey Lance or something like that. Because I believe, even though that the relationship with Teddy Bridgewater and Carolina Panthers isn't good right now, I believe he signed a 2-year deal last year. Like, he's still under contract, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? So, and then at that point, you still may have your pick of Surtain or Pitts, and either one or the other of. I think Chase would be going, but you probably have your pick of Waddle, Smith, Chase. I mean, Waddle, Smith, Pitts, or Surtain. And
Denver's ahead of Dallas or after Dallas?
Denver's ahead of Dallas.
Dallas and the Giants are 10 and 11. So the farthest if Eagles trade back would be 9, unless you risk the Cowboys or Giants taking your guy. But I'll say it's all going to depend on how the draft goes. If Schefter's right and he thinks there's going to be a run of quarterbacks, possibly 4 in the first 5 selections, you could, I would say, if Carolina and Denver are getting scared that their guy might be gone, you might be able to have them bid up against one another to try to move up to 6 with the Eagles. You only move down a couple picks. And then I would say you could possibly still get your guy, because I know there's like that whole like compensation, like evaluation and all that. Apparently from 6 to possibly 9, that's usually at least a high second round selection. You might be able to get a late first the following year.
Yeah,
so
Jeff, you're spot on. I mean, that's why they're going to continue to play coy about it and not be overly committal to Jalen Hurts outside of talking to Jalen Hurts on the phone right now. I mean, that's just how you have to go about it in a situation like you're in right now. I shouldn't have gone about that like this in other years, but in this situation, listen, they can't really, they really have to screw the pooch to mess this thing up. I mean, and they got to really, It's hard. It's harder to mess it up than get it right. Listen, we got tons of people watching on YouTube. Help us get over 100 likes. Subscribe. The road to 5K on YouTube. We got tons of giveaways when we hit 5K. So subscribe, be a part of the family. And 38 likes, 91 people watching. Grow up over that. I mean, let's have a little plan. Hit the like. You've got to agree with one of us because we've all purposely taken different stances. So somebody you got to like and agree with here that you can be like, let me hit that like. Let me hit that subscribe. Let me hit that follow. Let me hit that share. Do it. There's no way. There's no way.
Real quick, yes, that's true, Jeff. So Jesse Davis says, Sewell, Surtain, or Chase is my pick. Sewell, Surtain, or slam dunks. Let me ask you a question. Pose you a question. So we're sitting here talking about wide receiver versus DB and how to translate to the league. Which position do you think would have, just in general, which position is it harder to adjust to in the league and the style of play? Do you think it's wide receiver? Or in this DB, and does that lead into your factor of who you take?
I think this is like a trick question for me because I think when you were like literally, I'm letting Cass at 5 months listen. We watch. All we do is watch like sports together all day. Right, like different shows, etc. Play videos in his face so we can hear him. Well, what did Patrick Surtain Jr. do when he first got out? When he first said hello to the world, right? Through his early years, and the second that kid stepped on a football field, right? He played where? He played corner. All right, he probably played corner his whole life in high school. He probably played wide receiver too, but he probably played corner, right? And the biggest takeaway from everything I've heard about Patrick Surtain, the biggest takeaway for him specifically is that he's never out of position. So I will say, to your point, usually, Pete, it's easier, in my opinion, for the wide receiver to come in. Right. More impactful year one. But when you're talking about a corner whose biggest attribute is never being out of position, I think it makes a different case for him. But usually, to your point, usually it's the wide receiver that probably you'll see a bigger impact from year one.
Right. I just think with Surtain, I think it's, how can I say? I think it's easier for a wide receiver, just in position in general, to adjust to the league, especially if they can get off press man coverage already. If they can get off, they can get off press coverage, because I don't think for them, their day to day, the way that they play is changing that much. To where for a DB, with just how offensive schemes work, I think it may be a little bit harder to adjust. Jay, that's true. He'll have to adjust though. The good thing with Surtain I've seen so far, Surtain, however you want to enunciate it, is he's already gifted with his hands. Like, he knows he's not a burner. So he relies on his technique and his hands to get receivers off of the routes and puts his body. He knows how to use his body already, which I will go on record and say whoever drafts Surtain, he's probably going to play 10, 15 years, barring any injury, because I just think his gameplay and his style lends to him being durable and him being effective for a longer period of time. So, but once again, it depends on what the Eagles are looking for. And if anything is true to what we heard Jeffrey Lurie say last week, where he says Hurts is the guy, if the McClain stories, he was mad at Green Bay when they ran the ball a lot. Jeffrey Lurie likes fancy things, man. He likes fancy things. He likes shiny toys. That's what he's attracted to. And I feel like if he has his input, and obviously he's going to have his input, he's going to have his voice in the room, especially in the first round. He's probably definitely going to fight for a skill position player on the offensive side of the ball. So we're definitely fighting an uphill battle if you're a fan out there who definitely wants to go Surtain over Chase or Smith.
Point sells tickets. That's how Lurie views it.
Listen, he's not wrong, Jeff, right? I mean, he's not wrong, but then you got to sell the tickets. I mean, you got to sell the ticket. Jeffrey, you want your hands in all this stuff early on, and you personally have missed. The second you put your hand in the cookie jar as an owner of an NFL franchise, right, and you're not a football guy, is the second your franchise wins 4 goddamn games. That's how that operates, and that's how that goes every day, and that's why I can't stand it anymore, right? I just can't stand it. Like, we'll go back to draft day again, right? Go back to draft day, right? The owner wanted the quarterback, right? Yep. Well, the scouting department wanted the quarterback, but somebody out there figured out a way that they didn't want the quarterback because they let people do their job, Let people do their jobs. This is what these guys are here to do. These guys spend all year and sometimes longer than that evaluating talent from the college recs, going to pro days, going to the combine, all this stuff, watching a million hours of film on these guys.
Yeah.
But not let them do their jobs in the money rounds. I mean, that's the definition of insanity right there. You're not letting your guys who spend all the time doing their jobs in rounds 1 and 2, but you're going to let them do the jobs in round 3, 4. Listen, me and Chuck disagree on a lot of things, right? The only thing, one of the things we do agree on is that's why later picks for them seem to work out in terms of contributors, right? That's it. They're not stars, but contributors, guys who can at least start for you, right? Because they let their scouting department do their job, and that's not crowning their scouting department. But Jeffrey Lurie sat on a broadcast, talking about himself, talking about his great scouting department, right? Pete and Jeff, he's crowning it. Well, then, what are you doing? Let them do their job, please, because this is going to get worse before it gets better if you want to put your fingerprints
on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's becoming Jerry Jones.
Becoming.
Jeffrey Jones, man.
They're cuddling.
He's pretty much there.
They're cuddling in the morning. I mean, you know what I mean? They're spooning. I mean, they're on spoon levels. And then Howie Roseman is the definition of Stephen Jones. I mean, he might as well be his kid.
Stephen Jones can actually draft. That's the difference.
He can draft.
Stephen Jones can actually draft. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, we know. And that thing, like Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman both got bailed out, essentially, by their star players being leftovers from Andy/Chip. They got bailed out from it. And then they thought they could do it themselves.
And you have to feel with Sirianni because he's going to be fighting an uphill battle. I know everyone brings up that those situations. Oh, Andy was able to make the playoffs his second year. Chip was able to make the playoffs his second year. But I'll say this team is a complete disarray right now. I'll say Sirianni's come in where you don't know who's going to be your quarterback, even though we expect Jalen Hurts to be the guy. I'll say you have a weak defense and an aging defense. We're going to be moving on from a lot of players in the near future. A secondary that's in shambles, an offensive line that you still have a lot of question marks on. I'll say where at least when Chip, he had LaShawn McCoy, he had Deshaun Jackson before he moved those guys. He had quality players to still build from and found ways to win football games. As Sirianni, I'll say I kind of feel bad for the dude, but he's walking into a train wreck right now.
Well, I mean, they should have hired his brother. I mean, the way he talked about his brother, they should have hired his brother. I mean, he sounds like a better football.
Well, dude, it was kind of sad, or I should say that it was kind of mean of Sirianni to basically dub down the team that lost the freaking championship game, saying that they had no talent. That I'll say his brother's that great of a coach that he was able to win with a non-talented football team or go to the state championship with.
You want to talk about? You want to talk about a blow fest? My goodness! My goodness! Why is not on your staff? If I was asking, if they let me in there, the first question I'm asking him after that is, well, why didn't you bring him with you?
Yeah,
he's apparently retired from coaching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, and I seen Ivan Rivera, and I listen, fam. If you check in for the first time, we appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe on all media platforms. You can catch us tomorrow on all digital streaming media platforms, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you want to call it, Apple, iPod, Podcasts, Google Play, the whole nine. Wherever you can find podcasts, we're there. There's not a corner we haven't cracked. But I've been saying this, and Ivan just said it. He said they got bailed out by the Super Bowl. I listen. The Super Bowl for us we're always going to remember and cherish that day. But that may be the day that may be the greatest day in this organization's history if this continues, because that validated Jeff and Howie. When they won that Super Bowl, it validated Jeff and Howie as to their thoughts that they were the smartest guy in the room, and that now they think they're the whiz kids. They think they're Steve Jobs and what's the other guy, the dude with the big nose that created Apple? I forget. Wozniak. They think they're Jobs and Woz. You know what I mean? They think they're George Lucas and Harrison Ford. Like, no, you're not. Be humble. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm kind of like indifferent, because I'm like, I want it all to fail. I want it all to fail so these dudes wake up and be like, okay, that was a dream. That wasn't real. We're not really this good. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just me. But they have gotten bailed out by the Super Bowl. Yes, they did, and it left us here.
Even if they did win the Super Bowl, I still feel that I would say Lurie wouldn't move on from Howie. I'll say he's gonna chalk up last season,
Right.
Just to whatever. And I'll say this year they're basically chalking up because of the whole cap situation and COVID and this and that. So I don't know. Unless Howie does like something catastrophical where this basically just ruins the entire organization, I don't say moving on from a job anytime soon. But I'll say Chrome mentions here, I would say that the organization was a complete mess before Andy too. I would say it was a mess, but I would say with Ray Rhodes, a lot of those guys that Andy took over were Ray Rhodes guys. So I would say when he came in, he made the right choice with drafting Donovan instead of Ricky. So that's the difference there. I would say Lurie trusted Andy to be the guy to assemble this football team, and ever since Andy left, he gave Chip that power. It was a disaster. So until after that, I don't see Lurie giving anyone else power besides him and Howie. Decision making when it comes to the roster. Yeah. So
the biggest problem with Chip is he believed in the system more than he believed in the talent. That's his problem.
Yeah, well, he was like Sirianni's brother. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie's like Frank Lucas, an American Gangster. You know what I mean? Like,
Blue Magic.
Yeah, he's a little Frank Lucas right now, right? He's got the mink on, right? He let the wife wore the mink to the boxing match, and then the cameras were on him, and it was done after that. That's almost like Jeffrey Lurie's book tour. All right, and his mink that he wore out was Jalen Hurts in the second round last year. All right, that was when everything's exploded in their faces per se. I know there was another comment about Zach Ertz, and I know that was on our list of things to talk about. So we can talk about where you think Zach Ertz is going, if you even think he's going anywhere, guys, and or do they end up full circle and end up giving this guy a new deal?
No, they're not giving him a new deal, but I honestly don't feel he's moving on. I would say the fact that it's taken this long, I would say Adam Schefter reported that the Eagles gave him an opportunity, him and his agent, to talk with teams to try to figure out some type of trade compensation since January. We're now in March, and with the new year starting, and we still don't have a deal in place. I honestly it was asked today in today's press conference, and Howie said it has to make sense for both teams. It has to make sense for the Eagles, has to make sense for the team that he's going to, and they didn't. He was asked if they regret not trading Ertz last offseason, and he said they just weren't ready to move on from him. You expected another big year from Zach Ertz. We expected that Big 12 personnel last season with him and Goddard excelling on the offense side of the football. We expected record-breaking season from him, and it just went downhill. You don't know what happens from year to year, week to week with these guys, and the Eagles are kicking themselves in the ass right now because now you're going to be lucky to get a fifth, maybe fourth round pick for a 30-year-old tight end on a down year. In the last year of his contract, that still wants a big payday, which I know it's been reported that he's willing to play wherever he gets traded with this deal. Right. But the fact I'll say that tight ends are off, you might be able to get a team that hasn't been able to get a tight end in free agency. You might not move until after the draft at this point. If the team that misses out on one of these tight ends in the draft, you might get a late compensation pick for the following year for Ertz. But right now, unless they get a mid-round pick, he's sticking around with Philadelphia.
True.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was on the record saying the other day that I would give him at this point, to make things happy. I'll give him a 3-year extension on that deal. I'll pay him till he's 33, 34, because the tight end position is different than other positions, and it's a guy who can get open. Right? He gets open and he catches the football. Now he's never going to give you explosive yards after catch or big plays in terms of that. But he has the ability to get open. And if it was a different position, I wouldn't feel the same way about it. Now, I'm not paying him till he's 35, 36, anything egregious there. But I'll pay him till he's 33. We can make it right here. We can make it right, and then you don't have to worry about going and reaching for pits at 6. And you can actually say that you can actually believe that you have some proven talent on this offense going into this year, because right now they don't. They don't. Jalen Reagor's not proven. Miles Sanders is a proven home run hitter, and that's all he's proven to do. All right, and Dallas Goedert's proven to be in the tank. A lot. So there's a lot of guys that aren't
getting knocked out at a bar.
Yeah, to do nothing special on this football team. And you have a guy sitting here that over the last 5 years is going to catch you 70, 80 balls a year. Now, this year wasn't the same type of year for him, obviously, because of injuries. But usually he's been a tough guy who's played through injuries. So I don't have a problem giving him that money.
Does he deserve it, though? I would say after that down season, you expect him to get more money in a long-term deal. Weren't we just, I would say, haven't we got ourselves in this position right now that we are in with the cap because we continue to pay guys that we want to try to keep around too long just because for past performances or we're emotionally attached?
What if he's emotionally attached, though? This is different. This would be a smart decision because you know, age-wise, in the history of tight ends playing at a high level, we're 35. When a DN's not going to give you production till he's 35 like that. Other positions aren't going to do it.
But you drafted Dallas Goedert to be the successor eventually for Zach Ertz. By giving him an extension, you're moving on from Dallas Goedert in a couple years. And I know Dallas Goedert hasn't lived up to the hype that we expected, but he's still been a quality player, and we need to see if he can be that number one tight end in this offense and maybe draft another skilled guy, maybe not at 6, but later round in this draft that work with Sirianni's 12 personnel if he decides to work with that. But I love Ertz to death, but the fact that there was plenty of plays last season that you can just tell mentally he wasn't there and he wasn't ready to play games. I would say he wasn't giving you 100% on some of those plays. And that worries me because playing on a 1-year deal again or not getting that contract, that's going to play a toll on him. It played a toll on him last season. And now he doesn't have his guy. He doesn't have his man, Carson Wentz, his best friend on the football team anymore. And we don't know. You don't know. He doesn't know his future in this league after this year if he plays on this 1-year deal with the Eagles. Unless he has a superstar type of season, he knows he's on his way out. So why not just get the job done now? And right now, I'll say Howie and the organization, I know they don't owe him anything, but the dude obviously wants out. You've been trying to work a deal with some team, and you had teams interested and have contacted you. I just feel the compensation is too high for that they want for him, and teams are getting deferred away. So just move on.
But that's the thing, though. Now you hold leverage. So now that I hold leverage over him in terms of what he thinks he's going to get elsewhere, he's already said, Jeff, I'll go play somewhere else on that 1-year deal. Well, you hold full leverage then. Because if I give him, I don't know, I give him 20, 25 million guaranteed over 3 years, 4-year stretch, he's probably going to sign that deal instead of playing on a lame duck deal, right? He'll probably sign it. So you have better leverage to keep him and not overpay for him. I'm not talking about giving him Kittle money like he wanted or Kelsey money because he hasn't earned. He hurts that stock. So if there's a time to give him an extension, if there was ever a time, right, wrong, or indifferent. And listen,
for the team's benefit, now is it?
Agree with you guys. Like we got to see what Goddard is. We got to see. You know what I mean? I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, if I want to, we're talking about 1 year, giving it away and saying, okay, we're not planning on winning this year. But after this year, we're still planning on winning football games. And, to me, he can still play at a high level to that point. Now, again, under the right type of deal, Jeff, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not backing up Brinks for the guy to keep him. Like, play on your 1 year and go away. So, but yes, he did quit on this football team this year.
Yep.
He did let Howie Roseman get in his head, which we've now heard more reports of this happening with not just him. Nope. So that's an issue for another day. But Lane Johnson restructured, and he's had issues with Howie. So when you talk about throwing guys a couple more fazools, they get happy real quick. Bobby, appreciate the donation. We have so many holes on this team. Get elite talent at 6 and then go after O-line. Listen, that's going to be something we're going to have to do over the next 2 years. Maybe not in the first round, but definitely need to address it. Hopefully Andre Dillard can play in this league, Bobby.
Somewhere.
Hopefully.
DJ, we appreciate yours too. Do we hate Wentz now after the press conference? Yes. Yes.
Why, do you hate him because of the press conference, or you just hate him because he's now on our football team?
Combo guard.
Both.
Combo guard. 1, because he doesn't play here, so I'm not an ex-girlfriend. Like, I don't like you now. And 2, you went to your slumber buddy. Your little pen pal's house. You went to your pen pal's house. Frank, who we heard from Dan that he loves so much. Right? I love Frank. That's cute. Right? And then today, I don't know.
So to answer your Ertz question, and this is I see him in a way. It's not as messy as Wentz behind the scenes, but he had more of a public display of a falling out to where it was around reporters. He's getting in a shouting match with Howie. I think it's just harder to come back from that. I don't think Ertz wants to be here. Like you said, I saw somebody say they offered him an extension last year, even if it was a shit extension. They offered you one, and you didn't choose. You chose not to take it. Now, after Kyle Pitts in this draft, the tight end falls off a cliff. It's bad. It's probably one of the 2 or 3 lowest depth positions in this year's draft. So I think Ertz definitely has a market out there, but where it makes sense for the Eagles, they probably want a 4th-round pick. But I mean, you can get creative and maybe offer. I saw somebody say offer a pick and Ertz to Los Angeles Chargers to try to get their 2nd-round pick. I know stuff like that. You're going to have to get creative because, like you said, if he's been out there since January, looking for a deal, but teams right now aren't pressed to give their best deal right now. They'll be closer pressed to the draft. So I mean, I think you saw Lee Smith get traded, Hunter Henry got signed. So it's really not out there for tight ends like that. And I think somebody like in Seattle, or maybe even you look at somebody like in Atlanta, or you maybe even look at somebody like obviously the Niners don't need it, but you look at any contending team, and I think Ertz can contribute, and especially if they have a pass blocking type of tight end, because Ertz can't really block for shit. You know what I mean? No. Ertz can't, no. So he's not that type. He's not what you can do with Selleck. He's just not on, Ivan. He's just not on. He's good. He's straight. He'll be back next week. He's just not on.
I mean, call him at this point. I mean, you need him. It's your 3rd time asking. You know what I mean? DM him. If ain't going his DMs, you need him. He's shopping. I don't know what to tell you. He ain't on here, and we're rocking and rolling. And there's a lot of people watching us live right now. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Screw with the algorithm. Bring more Eagles fans in here. We're going to be talking to you for a good amount more time here. Really as long as we want, because we don't got the hockey happy hour until 10. So as long as comments are coming in and people got questions, we'll sit around the table and answer them for you.
Yes. I mean, I don't know, man. I was on Ertz to sell high when he still had value. You know what I mean? I think that, and it may piss some fans off, I think Ertz is valued as high as he is because we didn't have elite talent around him as far as skill position wise. He made the best out of a situation where he has to be the man. You know what I mean? But in other systems, it wasn't. I don't think he's ever been on an elite talent level like a Kittle or like a Kelsey, where I just feel like no matter what you throw at this dude, you can take him out of the game. Like, he wasn't beating everything. You know what I mean? He wasn't beating double coverage. That wasn't his game. That's not the type of player that he is, but yet we want him to be that. He's not that, and that he shouldn't be paid like that. And the Eagles finally felt that way last year with the extension that they gave him, and he wasn't with it. So at this point, I just think it's sour milk. You just walk away. I mean, I think there's a chance it may come, like you said, Jeff. I think there's a chance that it may come after the draft because of the fact that I think teams are going to let us see what plays out, and the Eagles may see what they do. You know what I mean? And maybe they can come back to it from there, or maybe they say, "Listen, this is what it is." I mean, I think it's a smart thing. I think it'll be classy for the Eagles to let him know whether or not he wants to move on, let him move on, or do whatever and just get something for him. Because I think that goes a lot. That goes a long way. I do not think around the league right now the Eagles are thought highly of as an organization, as a destination that does right by their players. Because I don't think in certain circles that they still look down upon by the tanking in week 17 against the Redskins. I mean, Washington football team. My bad. Washington football team, and then the whole Wentz saga. You know what I mean? And now around the league universally, Jalen Hurts has the support. And then now you have the press conference today. You know what I mean? A week after you secretly said that you wanted to be his team. You know what I mean? It's a lot of mixed messages with this organization, and you got to be comfortable with where you're playing at. Money isn't everything. Carson Wentz showed you that. Money wasn't the end all to be all for him. You know what I mean? He wanted more. Sometimes you need to show more to a player, especially with these younger players now in this generation. Like, you gotta, and love ain't everything. You got to show them all. They need reaffirmation every day or all the time that you are the man. They want to be told all the time. They need everything to be good. Very few. I would put it like this: in all sports, there are a lot of Zach Ertzes out there, right, who get touchy-feely. There's very few Dame Lillards out there. There's very few guys that have that elite level skill that can be comfortable in their own skin and deal with a tough situation and still be able to produce on the field of play. Ertz showed you last year he couldn't do that. So now I know he's on the book for $8 million, but I'm not offering him an extension. If he doesn't go, he plays on $8 million. I'm cool with that. But I'm not going to reward him and give him more money when he showed me last year he couldn't handle the situation. He needs to prove it to me again. You know what I mean? So that's my feeling on it.
Especially at 30 years old, about to be 31, I'll say we don't want to keeping these guys, like I said, just because of the emotional attachment, what they've done for us in the past. I understand you can't completely deplete this football team. Jeffrey Lurie is not going to allow that to happen. He still wants to be a somewhat competitive football team, especially going into next season with this crappy division that you still have a possible chance to win. And that's the reason why you're not seeing them clean house by moving on from Brandon Graham or trading Fletcher Cox or some of these other aging, overpriced veterans. But the only way this team's going to get better, I'm saying the only way they're going to improve this offseason is they're going to have to hit on their draft picks. No one is going to come here in free agency that's a marquee free agent that's available right now, unless for some reason the Eagles overpay. We're a 4-win football team, and we're not showing any signs right now of improving that. Moving on next year, you have an unproven quarterback. You have a new head coach who some people are a little bit skeptical on. Like you brought up, we're a complete disaster and dysfunctional organization in the front office, not just with the Carson Wentz debacle, but when you hear these reports from Jeff McLean that you have your freaking GM basically hazing one of your star offensive linemen, that he's not tough enough to go out there and play. No one wants to deal with that crap. No one wants to deal with a guy that's sitting in the office being a pencil pusher and being a guy that is trying to run this organization as a GM, come down there and give you crap when you're putting your body on the line for him to sit up in a skybox to watch you play a football game.
Right.
You don't want to take that crap from someone like Howie. And I know it was somewhat addressed today in the press conference. He was asked about it, and he said, "Hey, we moved on. Me and Lane are good." He signed an extension after that, which that doesn't mean crap.
Nope.
Just because he signed an extension doesn't mean he's all good. And I know John Clark got a quote from his agent saying he has no problems with Howie. Do you expect Lane Johnson to openly come out on a roster and team that he's still with and bash his GM? That just makes things even more awkward for him. I understand. It was like, oh, he's happy with him or this or that. He said that. Come on, get a clue.
Yeah, it's all play, man. And it seems like Howie and or Jeff or both have just forgotten how the game is played. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about the game on the field. We're talking about what we see behind the scenes, and that we're not supposed to hear this stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you're not, and Howie shouldn't be.
And that's a problem. We keep on hearing more and more stories leak out. And that's a bad locker room and a bad organization. This stuff is supposed to stay shut. The players usually have a motto: whatever happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. You shouldn't be having this stuff leak out. And the fact that it just shows how much of a dysfunctional organization that this organization is, and that Lurie has allowed this to happen as the owner of the franchise.
Well,
it almost feels like that there's bigger stories out there.
Yeah.
Pete, this is the thing, Jeff. This is the thing, you guys, is that your culture builder was not the general manager and was not the owner of this organization. And people could sit here and I'll sit on my goddamn hill again and tell people, try all by myself, that Doug Peterson created a culture here that was ruined by this front office. I want to make that as clear as possible to people. There was a culture built here on resiliency and toughness. You can talk to me all about X's and O's and go back and tape me on it. I don't care. I'm not talking about X's and O's. I'm talking about the difference maker and what makes you a winner. What gets you to the playoffs year in and year out. There was a culture set here of fight and toughness. Anything else, you can say whatever you want and have an argument with. When it comes to those two things, it's not up for debate. It isn't anymore. And the fact that they let him out the door and he became the scapegoat for all their mistakes. All right. And when you don't let your own coach who won a Super Bowl here sit at your table, it's a disgrace. It's a power trip. And it's exactly what Jerry Jones did in Dallas when he won his first Super Bowl and then a couple more with who? With who? Who did he get in a power struggle with?
Oh, Parcells.
No.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson, yeah.
He didn't like Jimmy Johnson getting all the credit for them winning. And the same thing happened here with Jeffrey Lurie, and it's the reason this team is a 4-win football team. And you guys, and not you guys, everybody out there can blame Doug Peterson for last year. Fine. Blame all you want. Blame him all you want. But we now know who decides who plays.
Yep.
We now know these things after the fact.
Just who you picked in your head coach this year. You know exactly who has final say.
They said it. And then you hear the reports about the Green Bay game. Is this real life? You go win a football game, you pound the ball down somebody's throat, and then everybody's going to tell me, oh, well, Tom, then they don't run the football enough because he wanted his $128 million, put a dog and pony show out there and throw the ball
nice things.
The game and then put his quarterback in a position to fail. That's exactly what a nerd did. Understand this? Because nerds run our organization right now. Not football guys, flat out nerds. Nerds that have as nice as I can. Nerds that are a little small, little tiny, and they're making up for a lot on their power trips and their ego because they're getting in the way of what had the ability to be, I'm not going to say a dynasty, but a team that had the ability to maybe go to 2 or 3 Super Bowls over a 5-6 year stretch. And they ruined their quarterback because they didn't allow their coaches to coach them. This is factual information now.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to coach up. Nobody could say anything to them. What? What?
You get pulled aside later. You get pulled aside later and get a talking to.
I'm sorry for my rants, guys, because I just get this is not many things trigger me in the sports world outside of Eagles and Ben Simmons. Like, not a lot of things trigger me anymore. Bryce Harper will very shortly, but not a lot of things trigger me as much as the Eagles do because we watched this that we could sit here on our chairs, right? Never having executive experience in our lives. And I could have promised you I would have got you to another Super Bowl or I would have got you to the dance, to the table if I just let my coach control football stuff, which means he should have a say on who you're drafting. And people are like, oh, Tommy, love the Rager and Hurts pick. No, okay. They want to give the man an extension.
Yep.
Yeah. And this isn't a defend Doug party. He's gone. They won 4 games. I get it.
Right.
But if you think Nick Sirianni is this genius and it all changes, his players listen to him talk for the second time today. You tell me when he's talking wing tees and crowning his brother and giving no credit, like Jeff said, to the players, tell me that's going to sit well with grown men. We're talking about it. I'm sick. So they can run the show. I'll fire the owner. Before this is done, I promise everybody out there that if they draft the quarterback at 6, I already told you I'm getting arrested. Now I'm going to get arrested. A2's going to blow up because of it. Whatever. I'm not leaving the NovaCare complex till I get an interview because I need to know what you're doing. And I was saying, what did I say on draft night? Are they trading him, Pete? Did they draft him to trade him? What is going on here? Now I'm going to say if they do it at 6, I'm going to say, are they trading it about Hurts? Are they trading him again? What are they doing? So you get your back up?
It's magical chair with the QBs, man. The only thing I say about Doug is he created a culture, but
don't you now, Pete? I calm down, man. But
the only thing is, I don't think Doug's next stop.
He fired all the coaches every year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Whatever his next stop is, I hope Doug just asserts himself more to hold and to speak up for his voice and go out. Because I said it this year. I think by week 7 he was like, I'm not coming back. I think he didn't care. I just think he was going through the motions and saying, listen, it is what it is. I don't have a voice here. They're cutting my legs out from underneath of me. It is what it is. But before that, it is telling that you tell me the last draft pick under Doug's regime that developed, that played better from where that overplayed our expectations. I'll say probably the one is Isaac Seumalo. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, later picked have outplayed our expectations, obviously, right? Pete, it's as simple as this, right? It's as simple as this. Just, I want to, as an owner or something, you want to see everything, right? You want to control things to a point. But if you don't trust in people that are doing certain things, and
that you're paying them the big money for too.
Yeah, they can get rid of everybody. Like, I don't understand.
In-house.
I don't understand. Like, and the thing that player development that's always been harped on here, right? Factor in two things. One, the guy making the picks, we don't trust at all.
Right.
So then we're going to put it all in player development. And the other thing is, how many guys? Well, after Frank left, then he brought Groh in, right? He brought Groh in. Groh was fired in 2 years? I'm not saying I like Mike Groh, right? But he gave him a vote of confidence, and they got rid of them guys. So it was a revolving door on assistants, really, outside of Deuce and Jim Schwartz. It was Doug, Jim, and Deuce, and a bunch of other people that have came through these hallways. That matters. That matters in development. Consistency matters in development. Like, yes, you're going to lose guys if you're a good football team, right? But you should have the guys right underneath the up the ladder. When he wanted to do that, when he wanted to give his own guys those raises, he was told no. What? What do you mean no? Who you hiring? And this is where we're at. And I think that's why another reason you saw deflated Doug all year. And you saw deflated players, because players know what's going on. And players who love Doug Peterson, which the majority of this roster did, okay, they know it and they can see it. So that equals a 4-winner. Carson saw it. You not only did you draft the quarterback's replacement, all the things you did this offseason set you up for 4 wins, even if you had the talent to win more.
Right. The thing is, and the biggest problem I have is the win isn't good enough. You play 16 games in a season. Winning the game in the National Football League, especially on the road, a team that you're underdog against, is tough. So when I hear the things about the Green Bay game in that story, it's bad enough that you medal, but you get a W, but you're not satisfied with the way you got the W. Like, who cares? How did you become a billionaire if you didn't care? Like, you should only care about the bottom line, not how you
produce a movie. When you produce a movie, you're worried about the sales of the movie. You're the bottom line of the movie.
Now, who buys it? You can't make this stuff up, bro. Like, think about that. Think about that. Our owner cares more about the way we play than the result of the outcome. The result of the outcome takes a back seat to whether or not it looks pretty or not.
How many ugly dogs do you see at the dog show? Right? Like, you guys ever watch the dog show? Right? Like, we've all had to scroll across us before. Right? How many ugly dogs are there? Let's be real. A lot of ugly dogs. There's plenty of dogs that they crown and they prance around. Right? That's what Jeffrey Lurie is with his offense now. It's a dog and pony show. What it is, Jeff, he wants 30 plus a game, and he doesn't care how he gets it. Right? He doesn't care. He's the same. This is the same guy, remember, who, like, what Chip Kelly did here offensively, he loved it. And he that's all he cares about. And then when it became a power struggle, he did it, then he stepped in. But this is what he wants. He wants 30 a game. He don't care if he's giving up 45, Jeff. Right, Pete? He don't care. Listen, you can drop 100 on them as long as he can say, well, we're exciting to watch.
Exactly.
I'll say I don't fault him. You still want to improve, especially that earlier in the season. I'll say they did struggle a bit, but to get that upset, I agree with you, Pete, for them winning the football game. And it wasn't the way that you wanted. First off, just be happy you won a football game. There's 16, gonna be now 17 games a season. Every win matters and every win counts. And that win was the difference between you making almost making the playoffs or not. So. That was it last year or the year before?
The year before we made the playoffs.
Year before, so yeah, they made the playoffs. Yeah, I can't remember when that Green Bay game was. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. But
that was when we were in that, like, must win too. Right at that point of the year, and it was a big win for this football team. It was when Howard and Miles both had really good games. Yeah, and, like, they didn't want that to happen. Like, what is going on? Listen, at the around 9:20ish, right? We're gonna get to every person who's chiming in here, like every person. We're gonna run through it. That's gonna be more of our no huddle. It's really just finding out what you guys got to say and making sure we're getting all you, because we can't thank every one of you enough for chiming in. Get us over to 100 likes right now on YouTube. Come on. We're at 61. We got 95 people watching. Keep hitting the like. Let's go. Let's go. If we're going to win more than 5 games, hit the like. Good on.
If we're going to lose more than 5 games or more than 8 games or 10 games, hit the like. Matter of fact, comments, whatever. I know it's March, it's April, but we're trying to get some conversation started because this team has absolutely no direction. Our head coach was giving a press conference today, like he was talking about his family at a family reunion at a barbecue or some shit over the potato salad with the raisins in it, which is horrible, by the way. So, and talking about no talent, he can't identify talent. He's not giving anybody credit. I don't know. God, how do you lose confidence in a team as you do a show? Like, the more we talk, the less confident I am in this team going forward. Like, I'm more confident in this team when I know I'm not hearing any noise. I don't know what they're talking about or what they're doing. This blind faith. As soon as we start looking at what they're doing and what they're saying, confidence goes out the window. I don't know. Like, now I think they're going to be a 2-win team, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't. Between
you said the best thing though. You said the best thing all show. First off, I agree with you. I want to be glass half full all day. And then the more I talk about them, the less they go down. And they start being the Bengals for the next 10 years, right? The more I talk about them. But what you said earlier, even though I'm not going to buy it until I see it, is the biggest unknown, the biggest X factor is what is Jalen Hurts?
Right.
And that can change this whole conversation one way or the other. I mean, gigantically. We could be talking about, well, we got a direction real quick. Or we could be talking about, how long is this going to go on for? He could be Quincy Carter, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
He could be really good, or he could be a train wreck, or he could be in the middle, which just makes us mediocre forever, and that's no good. But if he can be a very good quarterback, they have the money to put a roster around to be good.
Yeah.
Now, can he grow in to be great? Does anybody here think or anybody in the chat that's tuning in thinks Jalen Hurts has the ability at the National Football League at this level to be great? I want your 1 to 10 confidence scale on Jalen Hurts being great. 1 to 10. 10 being great, 1 saying no chance.
Even the organization doesn't believe he can be great. According to the reports, they only brought him in here because they envisioned him to be the backup for Carson for the next 4 years, and they could flip him for compensation in the future. So that's probably another reason why he can get the vote of confidence from Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, because they don't believe in him until he hits that football field and they see him in mini camps and training camps and see what he actually does. So I don't know. Jalen, I would say we talked about it throughout the past couple months. He showed some things that impressed you. He showed you a lot of things that didn't impress you. And granted, it wasn't a typical offseason for a rookie quarterback with the whole COVID situation. So hopefully we can get back to normal very soon, and it can get back to normal football operations and get these guys in practice and see them more. But I don't know. Even if Jalen balls out, just the rest of the talent on this football team as it's assembled right now at this moment without knowing what they're going to do in the rest of free agency and the rest of this offseason and the draft, as bad as this division is, this is still, I feel, a bad football team. I understand you have a lot of key players possibly returning, but a lot of players coming off major injuries. Remember, Brandon Brooks has 3 major injuries the last 3 seasons, and everyone's expecting him to come back to be that all-pro guard that he has got that reputation for. We don't know what we have with Andre Dillard. Jordan Mailata showed some progress last season, but we don't know if he's going to be the guy. Lane Johnson's getting up there in age and always hurt. We keep on complaining about this offensive line, and it was Carson and this and that last season, but if we don't have a line up front, it's not going to matter what Jalen does. He's going to be running for his life. He has no weapons to throw to right now, and his defense was a complete disaster last season, and they still haven't made any moves to improve that. They continue to bring back the same aging veterans because they can't completely disassemble a roster because, like I brought before, Lurie is not going to go into next season not being at least a competitive football team, or at least showing he's a competitive football team, and he's chalking up as last year as a fluke and hoping that these guys continue to pan out and then continue to kick the can down the road by restructuring all these contracts.
So real quick,
fanatic, you're all just disgruntled fans. Yes. When I win 4 games and I don't know the direction, now to the 1 out of 10, Scoop said 10. You had Andrew Murphy on the other level of saying 1. AK Eagle says 8 on the chances, your confidence level of Jalen Hurts being a great quarterback.
What do you?
10 is the highest.
10 being the highest, yes.
And you have 8. What did you see? Whoever made that comment, what did you see from him last season that makes you think he can be a great quarterback in this league? Please comment with your explanation on your status at being 8.
While we wait on that, Dan Katz said real quick. He said Chip had good pressers, Sirianni didn't. Let's not judge him before his coaching based off his pressures. This is the problem. It doesn't fucking matter, and that's what we're saying. Take out the fact of his pressers or who he is as a person. Them getting rid of Doug and forcing Doug out has shown you the results on the field. If it's not done a certain way, doesn't fucking matter to Jeff and Howie. It doesn't matter to Jeff. That's the problem. They're not concerned. They're not content with just wins. They want to win in a certain way. That's my problem. I've already said the day Sirianni got hired, I said, listen, the wide receivers I think are going to be better. I like the staff. The press conferences, they're just going to get made fun of. Even if he's good on the field, is he going to be good enough to the point in the fashion that where Jeff and Howie are not going to want to start to meddle and force him out and do these certain things? We've heard it. After 2016, they wanted to move on from Frank Reich. Doug fought for Frank Reich. What happened the next year? We won a Super Bowl. So it shows you right there that they meddle too much. So regardless of the result on the field, if it's not done in a certain fashion, there's going to be some lack of confidence to where Howie and Jeff feel like they just need to tinker some things and make a change. For whatever reason, for right, wrong, or indifferent, they feel like they may need to make a change. I don't know why. That's the concerning part for us. That's what me and Tom have been preaching. No, we're talking outside of results on the field. This team and the organization, you don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what Jalen Hurts is going to give us as a quarterback, but it's even fucking scarier when you don't know what the GM and the head and the owner are going to do, because they can't stand pat. They're not the ideal faction for stability right now at all. But you tell me one thing about this team, as if you're for the fan that's in the chat, that you have confidence in their stability. So answer that question for us, fam. 1 to 10, Jalen Hurts being a great quarterback. 1 to 10, how confident you are that this organization is stable.
And I'll say Philly Fanatics comment here. Howie said it was rebuilding mode, so there are low expectations for the next few years. Yeah, he might say that, and they might have low expectations. But in this fan base, we don't have those expectations. We might go in the season, okay, we might not be good, but in our hearts, we still want a winning football team. We don't want to be losing in year out. We don't want the dark days of Philadelphia football again, like those 90 years, which I was too young to luckily be really remember. But we don't like our football team losing, and we need to know that the guys up top are making the right decisions to turn this ship around so we can get back to winning fashion. Because Philadelphia football, I would say so many years we were a competitive football team. We were always a Super Bowl contender under Andy. Chip, we had high expectations, which we saw how that panned out. And even under Doug Peterson, despite last year's debacle, we still made the playoffs 3 out of 5 seasons with him being a head coach. So we were still a competitive football team. We don't know what we are the next couple years. And even after that, there's no guarantee with these moves and what they're trying to rebuild is going to be the right decisions for us. It could be a continuous cycle with head coaches and with us being a bad football team. And the common denominator right now, it's Howie. He's gone through 3. He's gone through 3 coaches. So until Lurie realizes that,
right,
I don't know if we get back to winning fashion. I know Crone brought up a couple episodes ago how many years until we make the playoffs. He expects 4 to 5 years. And after this offseason, after some of the decisions that Howie and Lurie continue to make, he might be right, which is not good for Philadelphia football and for this Philadelphia fan base. You're going to have some irate football fans over the next couple of years if they don't at least make some type of stride to show us that they can be a Super Bowl contending team again.
Well, Crum, hold my beer for a second, because I think it could be longer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could be – if you don't learn from your mistakes, this could be a long time. This could be a long freaking time. And I don't like to say that because like I said, you guys all know. I mean, Lennon knows after losses, just let me be.
Mm-hmm.
I might go crawl up in the bed, just lay down, maybe take an hour nap. Now I just come yell and scream about it, but just let me be. Okay? And so I never want to say that that's going to be the case. But there is no direction. And what you talked about. Okay, if Hurts is great, then there's a direction. Sure. Right? But how are you building your football team? What's the direction you're trying to be? Who are you copycatting after? Or what do you value? Are you going to value offensive linemen? Are you going to value defensive linemen? Or are you going to value linebackers more? Are you going to start valuing, what's going to be your direction? And say, this is the type of football team I am, right? When we talk about the Sixers, we're talking about like the same thing. Like when their bench, like, what are you? Right? When you come into the game, what do I know I'm getting? And that's sort of the identity of your football team. What's going to be your identity? Right? When are you going to start getting stars here? And to Jeff's point earlier, nobody's going to want to sign here. The only chance you have is Hurts can play and people want to come play with him, right? Mm-hmm. As of right now, that can change in the next year or two. But you guys know what I'm saying. So there's so many unknowns. But anybody out there confident that this team could win next year?
Yeah.
I find that you're just drinking spiked Kool-Aid. Spiked green Kool-Aid. And I love you because usually I'm drinking the same Kool-Aid. It's just not spiked. And I've been fooled. We've all dealt with Sam Bradford, Darren Sproles. Oh my God. We're here we go, 16-0 with Chip Kelly. We've been fooled to thinking we were going to be great before and stinking. Yep. So I don't think we're getting fooled though that we're going to stink.
Right.
And we're going to be really good. Like if we do, hey, fine.
I'm here for it.
Boys, we're going to have a lot of fun shows.
I'm saying, even if they make the playoffs, do you really have the confidence, depending how the next season would go? But if they win the football or win the division with a losing record or go into the playoffs with a sub 500 record, that honestly, I feel that hurts your franchise more because now you have a late first round pick because I don't have the confidence in that team to make a deep playoff run against some of these NFC juggernauts. Which, granted, anything can happen in the playoffs. We know that, but. Do you really want your team making the playoffs, knowing that it's probably going to hurt your franchise long term down the road?
Let's just say this: as currently constructed, I think we all can say if they make the playoffs, then they overachieved this season, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it also depends on how they make the playoffs. Now, if Jalen Hurts excels and becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback, okay, then I have a little bit of confidence in the direction of the team moving forward, because obviously it looks like Jalen Hurts would be your franchise quarterback, and you can use those first round picks on pieces to build around him and all of that. So I agree with you if that was going to be your going forward.
To your point, if it's a failure or not, it sets you back. I say no to that because of the fact of, like you said, if Jalen Hurts does succeed and they win the division with a winning record, even though they have a late first round pick, the biggest thing is Hurts now shown that he can play. Now you have money next year to be a player in free agency. That's where you can. So it kind of shifts the tide a little bit, where the draft may not be as important. So
I should have said, sorry, if we made the playoffs but still had question marks with Jalen Hurts, I probably should elaborate a little bit more.
Yes, yes. So, but if you don't have the question marks with Jalen Hurts and you make the playoffs, you overachieve, then you could be on the fast track to be putting this team back to potentially be the Super Bowl contender. That's my opinion. And we all said this. We said this before. We've been saying this for weeks. Whether or not we believe in Jalen Hurts, we all can agree Jalen Hurts is the biggest key to this team's success, short term and long term. If this kid is the guy, if this kid, the leader, can turn that mentality to good play on the field, by all means. I've said it before. His ceiling to me is Dak Prescott. If you can give me if he could be Dak Prescott, I'm cool. I'm straight. I'll take that. Go ahead.
Listen, the one thing we say is he comes from winning.
Yes.
Right? So he comes from a place that, and he's a worker. So I want to take them two things and hope to God that he can lead. Right? We were talking about culture earlier and that culture being gone, and we don't know what it is now. Right? And you do have some vets coming back that I do like because they're culture guys. Right? So I want Fletcher here for these kids. I want Brandon here for these kids. I want Lane here for these kids, right? Jeff, like we were talking earlier, I would like Zach here for these kids because I want to have a culture of guys who at least one that be able to bring these kids that we draft into a good environment. Now, that being said, Jalen for his age is very mature. And now let's hope that he can be that, right? Play on the field's one thing. He's going to have to play on the field. But then can he lead men too? Can he have a combo? Because if he's just a really good quarterback or just a real, like just say he's a really good one. He doesn't have to be great, just real good. But he's a great leader. It can make up for some intangibles. Leadership makes up for some intangibles. So I never want to write a guy off fully until he gets his full chance to go. And then after that, then I'll do my writing off. Like he doesn't get another year after next year. Like it's year 2. You played. Like year 2, you got to go. This isn't 1998 quarterbacks that you draft, right, guys?
Right.
So, dude, here's your year. And if you can play, then guess what? Then we got our guy. Yep. And all you got to do is just play good, right? Show me you can throw enough in the pocket, right? Show me development. Show me you got better. Because if he gets better, we're going to have a better football team. Now, are we going to win 10 games? No, but can they win 6 to 8 if he plays? Because at the end of the day, Pete, Jeff, you know this. The one thing I'll give him credit for, the other thing is on the field, when things break down, he can make a play.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's going to give your offense a little bit more explosiveness, like Carson gave when he really moved around. Mm-hmm. They're not paying him a lot of money. They don't owe him a lot of money. So I don't think you're going to hear them tell him, stay in the pocket. Right? You're not going to hear that yet. So that gives them a chance for big plays down the field, explosive plays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the glass half full is your defensive front is still here.
Yep.
And you expect Derek Barnett to be back because it's going to be cheaper for them to bring him back. And they're going to create cap space.
Well, he's over since they're under the cap. They might not restructure his deal since his $10 million was guaranteed yesterday. So they're not going to cut him. So they either have to restructure or trade him at that number. Which, if you're Derek Barnett, I would say unless you want to be here long term, do you really restructure that deal? Because you're not going to get cut. So you don't want to take a cheap deal, knowing the fact that I would say you're in a prove-it year and that you possibly can. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically, play or rely on yourself to show the league and show the league, hey, I can be a premier pass rusher in this league. I would say because we know how much these premier pass rushers are getting paid in free agency right now. I feel he's gonna bet on himself. So I don't see him restructuring. The only way he's not here on this football team, they decide if they can get some type of compensation for him that they feel is decent enough from another team and trade him.
Well, I think from his standpoint.
Sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, but from Barnett's standpoint, you have to realize you're in a situation to where you're probably the number one DE on the team, and there's only 32 teams in the league.
Yep.
I mean, because you figure Brandon Graham is on the tail side of his career. So with Barnett, I mean, I would probably stay and bet on myself and see what I can get, or I would approach the Eagles and say, "Hey, let's restructure now, since now we're officially in the new league year." Maybe it's a 2 or 3 year deal. He's young enough if he does a 2 or 3 year deal where it's say 35 mil, 25 mil guaranteed or whatever it is, something that's throwing numbers out there to where you can, if you bet on yourself, you get 2 or 3 years, it doesn't work out, you can go ahead and re-up again. Like look at Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd this time, 4 years, 60 million or something like that with the Rams or some shit like that.
You can't let this happen. I'm going to stand again. I'll be the odd man out here. Or I'll be the odd man out all night. I enjoy it. But when it comes to a 25-year-old that still can say he has upside, right? And he's going to continue to play with Brandon Graham and learn some things from him too. I don't think Derek Barnett's a guy just with the bang-ups he's had. The bang-ups to say, I'll bet on myself right now for 1 year. I think you're in control like you are most of the NFL. You're in control when guys are in their last year. Now, the guys don't always have to take it. No. But you're in control right now when it comes to injuries and guys losing money, that most guys are going to say when you toss them $20 million guaranteed, like Pete's saying, in a deal, they're going to say, okay, $20 million guaranteed, I'm an idiot for not taking this right now.
Yep.
You know, like unless he hasn't had double-digit sacks. He's had nothing to say like, okay, you know, I got this to stand on when I hit free agency. He would have
been very underwhelming.
Yeah, come out and have a monster year to be able to get his worth. And I think he's better off staying here. And this organization, honestly, they're another one. They drafted him in the top 15, and you're gonna move him at 25. It's just more effing mistakes that I can't deal with because you're proving that you're wrong again. You let Sidney Jones out the door. He played better, right? That's a guy that I said I wouldn't have traded. I wouldn't
thought he would get a second contract, bro.
I said I wouldn't have traded for Darius Slay in a third last year. Remember? Yeah. I sat here and said it. People are like, you're crazy. I said you can't just let guys that at this age that showed a glimpse walk out the door. You got to see if they can play. Let him run out there 16 games. If he stinks, he stinks, right? But you gotta allow it to happen,
yep,
right? And injuries is the only thing that kept him off the field. Now Rasul Douglas, I think, stinks, so I don't care about Rasul Douglas. But Sidney Jones, I wanted to see. I think maybe a few of us still held out hope because the Achilles is a killer. That's why I don't want Hooker because not a hooker. Hooker is because the Achilles. I don't want a hooker either, but an Achilles is something hard to come back from right away. So you got to give it a chance to play out. Now with Derek Barnett, can you play 16 games? So I'll bet the fact that, you know what, I'll give him $20 million and bet on that he's going to have some years where he plays 16 and he's 25, and him and Josh Sweat combo can be a real good combo for my right side. Depending on how you look at it, I guess that'd be the right. My right side. Right. Okay. My right side, that I have that combo for the next couple years. I think it's important for what your identity's always been. It's get after the quarterback. I can't let guys who get after it walk out the door because I got nothing. And there's nothing in this draft. Not walk out the door, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah. But now that you're talking about getting after the quarterback, we're bringing in a new style of a defense. I would say Jim Schwartz, he relied a lot on his front four put a lot of the pressure on them to get pressure on the quarterback. Yep. You're going to see a lot more from Gannon, I would say, where he's not going to of course, you still want pressure from your front four, but he's not going to mainly rely on them. You're going to see a lot of different blitz packages from your secondary, from your linebackers that take some of the toll off your front four. So it could help. It could help Barnett. It could hurt Barnett. We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And I agree with you. I would say for a guy that's young, if they're willing to give him an extension, that'd be great. That would give him more guaranteed money. I'm sure he would love that for a 2 or 3 year deal. He can be, if it doesn't work out here, you can still be done with him before he's 30. He can get maybe one final contract for his career. But I just don't know if the front office is willing to or do that right now. Like we said, he's been very underwhelming as a former first-round pick. And do you want to somewhat risk giving a guy that hasn't lived up to that first-round hype even that much guaranteed money for the future, even though he's a young, possibly talented defensive end, when you have a guy like Josh Sweat, who last year on limited role still had 7-8 sacks? I would say you must get a pass rusher.
He ain't shit though.
It's a limited role, and it's not having to play rundowns. The thing Derek Barnett is really underrated with is stopping the run. Yeah. I'll say devil's advocate to a new system and more guys blitzing, etc. Right? Any team that can rely on their front four more does. Right? And any team that does still want to blitz and bring pressure, it only helps your front four numbers go up. So to me, for a guy that has a motor like him, like at least when he's on the field, I think pressure, right, Jeff, from your linebacker, whatever, safety blitzes, etc. I think help guys like this because you're not putting all the freaking pressure on them that have to get home, right? We're getting doubled, etc. Like, how much will help Fletcher Cox to bring a linebacker one day?
Yep.
One time. Just one time. Bring a linebacker. Will it help him? Sure, it won't hurt him. So you're 100% right that I think a new scheme helps everybody.
Yes.
But to me, it's like, I know people are like, well, Josh Sweat, but I'm the guy who just wants to, when I see something that can work in a combo of something, I want to try to hold on to it. So when I look at Barnett, I look at Sweat and I combine them almost. So I'm saying, okay, Derek Barnett plays the run great. Josh Sweat doesn't yet and has a history of being injured. So I don't want to play either one too many snaps. So if I can use both, and now the question is, would you guys get $20 million guaranteed for maybe a guy that's off the field sometimes?
You talking about Sweat or Barnett?
Barnett.
Yes. Because you have to think about this, and this is the point I was going to bring up with Jeff. 20 million, 30 million right now ain't shit with the new deal that's about to come out. It's nothing.
Let's go. Sorry, Flyers scored.
It better have scored having a 3-0 lead. They deserve to win the game. You can't do that. But no. So like 20 to 30 million now, it'd be chump change in 2 to 3 years when the cap is 220, 205, $210 million. So you got to look at it like that. So I would have tried to re-sign him now, but I understand why they had to try to do it so they can get under the cap, but it still leaves room for them to restructure. You know what I mean? And so give it a scenario, right? Say for some instance, Kyle Fuller is interested in coming here. He's looking for a certain deal. You go to Brandon, you go to Derek Barnett, restructure. That frees up money now that you can bring in Kyle Fuller on a 1-year proven deal, and then you can revisit that next year. You know what I mean? So it gives you flexibility right now to have a contract like that and a player that you believe in the future, because that leaves you the opportunity to maybe restructure one at a lower price than what he would be if he hits the free agent market next year. Don't let him hit there. And you can bring in another player to help your team short-term and long-term.
Power forward makes this team the second-best defense on paper right now with linebacker holes and some safety concerns. It makes them the second-best defense in this division right there. And that's without drafting. That's without maybe like low-level linebackers that you bring in on 1 year, like little $2 million deals. You know what I mean? Or other things like that. Right there makes them, to me, the second-best defense in this division, not in the NFC.
I still have them third. I'll say that Washington defense is stacked, and we probably have second.
Yeah, but we sacked the quarterback more than they did last year. We led the league in it. So if we're running it back with our front, per se, and we got Fuller and Slay now,
we're still liability in the safety position, though, and at line.
What week did Malik Hooker get his injury?
3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it was early on.
I don't know, Tom.
Come on, Jeff. Buy in with me, because listen, you can make up for holes when you got guys who can play one-on-one. Like Kevon Wallace, maybe Kevon Wallace can play. We're going to find out, right? But Rodney,
he can't play free. He can be strong. He can't play free.
Okay, but Rodney's going to be back
last week.
Rodney might be back in September.
What's Rodney? So what's Rodney McLeod's cap hit?
They ain't cutting him this year.
No, he's not getting cut. Unfortunately,
they just re-signed him, right?
He's gonna. What was that?
They just re-signed him last year, didn't he?
I believe so. Yeah, and he's probably gonna start the season on the PUP list from what they've been saying.
I don't know, man. If the longer Malik Hooker sits out there, I may take a flyer, Tom. Listen, just because you have nothing else. Who's your third safety?
I don't care, but I'll flyer anything.
Avonte Maddox, who they eventually are moving.
Listen, this is actually I'm not Mr. Avonte Maddox, but if you go Slay, Fuller, and Maddox in your slot, I actually like that. Like, I don't like Maddox, but Maddox played better in the slot. He's not an outside guy. Never will be. Stop it, knock it off. Play the inside. He showed he can play there. Now, with two guys like that, he might even be able to play there at a higher level. I just think it makes everything better, right? And then you're going to play Davion Taylor and you're going to play Kevon Wallace because you got to see if they can play. And that's not including where you might draft this year. So, to me, the defense isn't like crazy far off, like when you talk about the Washingtons of the world, etc., because we led the league in sacks, and we essentially got the same front again.
Right.
That was the only stat they led in, besides probably most yards and most seeing the back of a player's jersey last year.
Well, we didn't tackle well, Jeff, at all in our secondary, right? And our linebackers, and we that's what killed us.
Singleton was a tackling machine, but he was a liability in coverage. There's a lot of question marks. I agree with you. There's the potential there, but you have to know what you have. And we keep on bringing up, you need to see what you have from these young guys, but continue again, drafting and missing players. You bring up Davion Taylor, Kayvon Wallace, two guys that barely saw the field last season, and the times that they didn't impress you that much. So it's really gonna see what Sirianni is all about, and he lives up to this this reputation of being a teacher and bringing teachers to his coaching staff. Because we need to see what we have. We need to develop these guys, and we need to know sooner rather than later. Especially since, like we keep on bringing up, the front office basically chalking this up as a rebuild year. There's not a lot of expectation. So if this is the year that you want, if there's any year to see what you have in this young talent, if they can play going forward, this is the year to do it. And Davion Taylor, Chuck just brought up Kayvon Wallace. He felt that the Eagles reached on both those guys. Davion Taylor wasn't a third-round talent. Kayvon Wallace wasn't, fourth or fifth round, wherever he was drafted in?
I disagree with that completely. I mean, Davion Taylor shouldn't have been drafted. But I'll agree.
He shouldn't be drafted. He shouldn't be drafted in the 3rd round. He said probably if the Eagles reached on him. The Eagles were afraid that
I know what he said. I heard too much from him. I know what he said because I heard too much from him. Davion Taylor, to my point, shouldn't even be drafted. He's not even on a board to me. Okay. Now the other guy should have really been drafted in the 3rd round. Tavon Wallace was a projected third round guy that dropped to the 4th round. That's my difference of opinion with Chuck. Davion Taylor stinks. He's right on board there. Right. Yeah. There were better options in the 3rd round. But you could draft the Tavon Wallace, and it would have been a better pick in the 3rd round than Davion Taylor. Now, you're right. You're going to have to see these young guys play. But at the end of the day, you still have veterans here that can play. So all I'm doing is giving the case that, they can be they're going to be competitive. They still might stink, though. They might win 4 games. But if you sign Kyle or Fuller, you're better. Right? It's like them little things. Like if you sign them, you're better.
But you're better if Fuller comes here, but once again, we don't know if he wants to come here, if this is a destination he wants to come, and how long he's willing to stick around here. Because is he really going to want to come here? Since we're seeing a lot of 1-2 year deals, is he really going to want to come here on a 1-2 year deal when he's 20 right now, currently 28 years old, in the prime of his career, and be on a losing football team? It all depends what his priority is. If he rather has money or he rather be winning, especially since Chicago made the playoffs last year, and now he probably wants to go to another playoff or at least Super Bowl, or at least a playoff contending football team. Which Philadelphia is not, unfortunately. Even in this bad division, he brings them a little bit closer. But with the amount of question marks on this football team, we're not a prime destination. As much as I want Kyle Fuller and that tandem with Fuller and with Darius Slay, we have a dominant secondary.
The only thing is
happening.
I'm seeing a lot of comments saying our secondary is trash. The one thing we have to realize is in Jim Schwartz's scheme, you need elite DBs because he puts you on an island. How many times do we see cover 0, cover 1, and it's hard to be a DB in this league and be successful. I think now you're going to – I'm not saying scheme's going to save all. It's going to hide some of that deficiencies that you have at talent with Jonathan Gannon's scheme.
Yeah, but there's still some – the problem is this is the Phillies over the last – since they signed Harper, okay? And let me clarify what that means. That's halfway in, halfway out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right? And that's never good. Now – the only thing is you have veterans back here. Now, if your veterans stay healthy, you would think this is going to be a better football team. Now, that's a lot of ifs, right? We can say ifs for a lot of things. But to Jeff's point, Brandon Brooks has been hurt 3 years in a row. Like we're gonna hang out, hold out hope that he's gonna be healthy. Come on, right? Lane Johnson's injured every year. So, but yes, if them guys are healthy and they play 16, 17 games, is this a better football team? Yes.
Lane's ankle hasn't been right since that London game.
Is this more than a 4-win team? If BG, Fletch, Slay, Barnett, Hargrave, and then you go to the offensive side, then you go Lane, Brooks, Kelsey, right? If all them guys are healthy, then it could probably be a good football team, or at least a really competitive one. But that's a big if.
Yep.
Especially with the linemen and the offensive linemen are the reason we stunk last year. So that's the problem. We're on a big if, but we're halfway in, halfway out, which makes this draft intriguing because if you do draft well and get some impact players and them guys stay healthy, then you become a competitive son of a bitch.
Yep. I 100% agree. 100% agree.
If you being good and competitive to stinking, I'm going to lean more towards the stink.
Right.
I'm going to lean more towards the stink right now. I'm just giving the other side that brings some hope, which Jeff's not allowing me to do tonight with the Kyle Fuller. To bring some hope and then try to do something positive because we were upset. And pound the like button if you're upset. If you're tired of winning 4 games, right? Yeah. If you want Broad and Pat, pound the like because this isn't what we're here for, right? We know as fans, especially Eagles fans, we got a taste.
Yeah,
the taste of it. We need another one, and the only way we're going to get that is by getting stars in the house.
I mean, it's like I can eat it's like Super Bowl is your favorite meal. You can eat one of those bitches once every week.
Once you have,
yeah, you can. It's good at any time. You know what I mean? But it's not even just that. It's just I think this fan base just wants to see consistent, stable football, whether it's wins or losses. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to see the direct that we saw last year. We want a better on-field product. You know what I mean? And we want our players to wear their heart on their sleeve. We want them to be that AI, that Embiid on the field. We want them to be that dog because we live through the team on Sundays. You know what I mean? And when we see you out there getting frustrated and not caring, lackadaisical, it sends the wrong message. It sends the wrong message. Now, that's the one thing, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, whether it's good or bad, how it plays out. Jeffrey Lurie wants to fucking win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants to win. And whether he's right or he's wrong in his thinking and how he goes about it, he wants to win. The intentions are to win. So, for that, I 100% commend you. Now, once again, the direction, I'm not. It's like we're going to point A, and then bitches are stopping at like point X, Y, Z, going back to B, down to G to get to get back to point A. Bitch, no, straight line, my shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's here. It's
5 times. You said at least 55 times a night. 5 times a night, point A to point B.
Bro, it's just
he's bitched it.
It's ABCs, man.
Quota. If you're keeping track at home, if you do shots, good luck to you in the morning. If not, right this second. Finish what you're saying, and then we got about 14 minutes, and we'll get that. Like we'll do a quick Q's and A's and run through it.
Nah, that's it, man. That's it. The intentions with this team and every decision they make is to win, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. We just want to see something that's more stable product on the field. And you really had me this year. I say for every year, the Eagles have my fandom on the lease. It's a 1-year lease every time. This year, it's really like
that.
Huh?
You can't just jump a team if they come on, man. I was saying,
listen, I'm never the type of dude that pushes my chips all in every year. I'm there, I'm here, but I'm just saying this year, a little bit different. I had no expectations.
You're jumping shit.
I don't even know you anymore. I don't even know who you are. I have no idea who you are anymore. I thought I knew you. I don't know you.
This year is going to be easier for them because I have no expectations. So
that's different than being on a lease.
Yeah, no matter what, you get low expectations, but the fact if you have high expectations and they're not met, you make it seem like you're gonna jump ship and join another fan base.
Oh no, never that.
Oh, okay.
Never that. But for years and years and years, I've heard, Howie could do no wrong, and I've said for the years, Howie's on a 1-year lease with me. For years, Howie could do no wrong. Finally, now people have come to my side. Where now the more and more stories that come out, the McClain story did him no favor, but every time a story with Lurie comes out about picking personnel or being involved in personnel, it makes Howie look that much better because you don't. This organization does the best at clouding whose decision it is of a player that didn't work out. You know what I mean? You don't know who to blame.
That it was funny today during the press conference that I'll say Howie trying to find a way nicely to say that Lurie has always been involved with the decision makings without ultimately blaming him for the decisions. I'll say he's trying to find up a creative way. I don't think it really worked. I would say he was talking out of his ass. That whole press conference, they were talking out of their asses. But hey, kudos to him for at least trying.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we're almost at 100 likes on YouTube. Let's go, fam.
Let's go.
Get us there. Come on. Get us there. Everybody hit that like right now on YouTube. We're right there. 78 of them. Come on. Get us home. Me to quote a talk. All right, let's get to a bunch of the fam. Thanks, Billy. We appreciate it. I think everybody, Dre, agrees with drafting Chase. Nobody's gonna have a problem with that here. I'm good with Chase. I'm good with a lot of guys at 6, and I'm good with guys if you decide to get out of the top 10 too.
Yeah.
NFC East, Beast. Yeah, Moana got better, but I would like Moana that to be a rotational guy and Dillard to be good. Like that would be even better since I used to pick on him. Like some of these guys got to be able to play. Goodness gracious. You know what I mean? Like some of these guys got to be able to play. But if Moana's a guy, then he's a guy. If he beats him out, good for him then. You know, you're a rugby guy, you're being out a first-round pick. That means Andre Dillard's crying somewhere.
Yes.
Would you all trade for Watson? We talked about this earlier. I would. I think Pete was with me. I think Jeff was against us because you can't surround them with anything. Then
I would be for it depending on the compensation. If the compensation is too high, then I wouldn't be for it.
Okay.
Fair. I got you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving 4 away. You know what I mean? You're not getting 4 first. You're not getting anything crazy.
Hell, you can't trade that far in advance. I think you only can trade as far as 3 years or something. So, unless you have multiple first-round picks in multiple years.
Do I like AK Eagles? Do we like
mustache?
And I'll say that's the question right now. I'll say who is going to be the backup quarterback? I would say we keep on talking about that they might draft a guy, but if they don't, I would say Tyrod Taylor's off the market. Brissett's off the market. I would say 2 guys that we thought had a little bit connections with Sirianni. And I'll say the slim pickings out there on who you feel would be a quality backup. Honestly, I don't feel they're not going to sign anyone that is going to be a real threat to Jalen. You're probably going to get a guy like maybe Minshew or Geno Smith or some of these guys that, if called upon, could be a serviceable backup, but you're not going to get a guy that's going to really, I feel, compete for Jalen's starting spot.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They said that Nate Sudfeld had the best deep ball on the roster last year, so
he's not even on the roster this year, so they obviously didn't live up that much hype from him.
Oh, that's the funny thing. I think is if they don't sign anybody, it's going to be him.
I feel they're going to go with someone that's similar to Jalen Hurts' skill set, especially depending on what type of offense Sirianni wants to run. I know he keeps on saying that he doesn't bring players in to play to his scheme. He adapts his scheme around his players' strengths. So, but I still feel he has an ideal type of quarterback, especially if Jalen's going to be your starter. I feel he's going to want a guy somewhat similar to his skill set, and I don't know. Some of these guys available, I just don't fit it, which is why I feel he's going to try to go with maybe like a mobile quarterback.
All right. Well, Mariota somebody said he got released. I'll take Mariota.
Yeah.
That's
he's about to get released. They asked him to take a pay cut, and he won't do it. So they're probably going to try to shop him, or he's eventually going to get released.
Gabriel, what will be your reaction? We get a QB at 6. I will personally get arrested at the NovaCare complex. I can't speak for the other 2 guys.
Flip the fuck out.
Yeah. Something's getting thrown. Cuss words are going to be said. Not going to be a
quarterback that you could take at 6 that I won't get arrested for is Trevor Lawrence, and that's not happening. So I would say
Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson for me.
I would maybe say okay, I could hear you if it's Zach Wilson. Dre says you go after Casey Hayward. I mean, I put a flyer out on him. I mean, I know he's been banged up, but again, you're gonna have to band-aid some of these things, and Casey Hayward's a low-risk, high-reward guy essentially, and he's a different type of corner than Slay. I mean, he's a different style. He plays better in the zone, so I don't know how that works. But go ahead, Sirianni. Go ahead, Nick. Mr. Adjustable. No, AK Eagles. I don't think he would challenge him. I mean, I think he would make him work. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody has a clue if they don't draft a quarterback at 6, and how everybody feels that it should be Jalen Hurts' job for this year. Wouldn't want that anyway. So I don't think the fan base will be calling for Mariota. Like, we want to see Hurts. We want to see, okay, if he plays really bad, can he bounce back and play really good? Or if he plays really good, can he play really good 2 weeks in a row? Can he play really good 3 weeks in a row, right? So we need to find out things, and we're not going to find anything out by Marcus Mariota playing because we know what Marcus Mariota is. Tough kid, love Marcus, but, it is what it is. What else we got?
Don says a lot, Jake.
Yeah, not happening.
A lot.
Probably the next couple firsts and a couple 2s in there as well.
Well, that's why you do that for Watson and not that. You know what I mean? Because you don't know.
I do that for a proven commodity.
Yeah,
I don't do that for somebody I never seen make an NFL throw.
Yep.
Bill, I agree with you there. Wouldn't need one after we draft 13. That's where I hope we go. But again, I'm not mad if they go a different direction. I know Patrick's going to fall on boards because of his speed and stuff like that. And that's where they're the guys who end up being 12-year-old pros. I mean, you get all the time. So people can talk to me about 40s and all the rest. If a guy's always in position to make a play at that level in the SEC, He's going to be in position to make plays at this level. It's as simple as that. And if you overthink it, you miss. Now, that's not meaning Jamar Chase is overthinking 13. I'm saying if this football team comes to me and they draft a guy that I go who again in the first round, and I watch a lot of college football, so if I who you in the first round, I'm gonna be pissed. Trey Lance would be a who to me.
Yeah.
Right? Makes sense? Trey Lance a who? Like I know who he is now, but who? Right? So the list goes on that kind of stuff, even where they're at. And if they trade back, that's where you get the more to who from. Right? They traded out of the top 10, they went to 15, then they got cute at 15, right? That's their MO. No cuteness in any round that you make a selection with. It is literally your board from your guys saying, "Whoa, your best players," and you go ding, 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 outside of the quarterback. Ding, 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 ding. Wow, it's nice already. 90 likes, Mats. Come on, we're almost at 100. We're almost at 100. Oh my goodness, come on! I mean, come on, you can't. So this organization would draft 3 quarterbacks in the first or second round in 26 years.
I think he's saying on out of the QBs, Lance is his number 6, not that he would take him at 6.
Oh, even better. Ray, Tom, Pitts versus 13. Who wins that matchup? 13. He's big. He's physical. He can play with Pitts.
I think it's 50-50. I think if you throw it 10 times, I think it's 5 and 5.
Depends on who's throwing the quarter. It depends which who's throwing the football.
All right. We'll give that.
I'll say because if you have Peyton Manning out there throwing the football, I might go with Pitts a little bit more over Surtain.
Yeah.
Well, we just need stars. So can you just go?
That's it. You need talent. You need pimps. You need pimps, man.
Can we just go star hunting for one time? Like we have the ability.
Can we have somebody say it and actually fucking mean it and do it? That's the problem.
Like if you just say one of the names we've said at any point in this first round, Chase, Smith, Surtain, Pitts,
I'll be happy.
Dool, whatever. So Parsons, they won't do that. But right, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
okay, go to work. Now in the second round, there's a lot of guys that we know names.
Yep.
Right. If you do this again in the second round, now they draft the guy we knew his name in the second round.
If they go Kalaman in the second round, I swear to God.
No, we just can't draft guys first, second, or third round that football guys at home say who? Right? That's unacceptable. That's where I got to draw the line. Like I need to know who you are and be like, yep, I seen him play. And there's a lot of that out there. There's enough of it.
Well, not just the unknown, but I would say we need to pick guys that can come in and make an immediate impact, and that's the one thing we have been missing. I would say not everyone follows the draft as enticed as some of you guys or people that watch the show, but all I care about if that guy is drafted within the first 3 rounds, he better at least be a starting player wherever position he plays at come week 1 for this franchise to make some type of impact.
Year 1 contributor.
Yeah,
like you said, Jeff, very well pointed out. That we have not had that. JJ, not a day 1 contributor. You know what I mean? So
Davion Taylor, 3rd round, not day 1 contributor. Besides special teams.
The best thing to say is no projects first, second, third round.
Yes.
It is guys that you again, like I feel I'll say projects are not guys that I've seen play and be like, yep, that guy can flat out play. And every year, the first, second, third round, there's enough guys of just watching enough to degenerate that you're like, okay, yep, this guy can play. And I don't go around like studying players and doing tape on them. I just be like, okay, I watched him play. This dude's a pimp. This dude's not a pimp. Xavier Collins is a damn good linebacker. I agree with you. The best in this draft, I don't know. I can't go there.
Parsons, even with his character issues, is still a monster.
Exactly. So, boys, hockey happy hour coming up, 10 o'clock.
Celebrate that Flyer sketchy win.
Sketchy is right. They held on now. They held on. They blew more leads in the Phillies bullpen. It's amazing. It's amazing. And hopefully the Phillies bullpen gets it back on track. Gets back on track. Well, I don't know what back on track would be, but it gets on track this year. Thanks, Don. Come on, 3 more likes to 100. Get us there. We got a Got a minute left. Come on, get us to 100. 100 people watching. Let's go. Get us to 100. 92. Let's go. Right there. Right there. Boom. 100 likes.
Woo!
Did we do it? I said we did it. I don't know if we did it yet. I got 94 on my end. Come on. We got 94. I don't think we did it yet. 97 I'm getting. Come on. Right at 100. That's as we hit 100. So we did it, boys. Look at us. Look at us.
Shit. Can't do it without y'all, fam. Can't do it without y'all. That's why we here.
We begged, pleaded, and got it. So stay tuned for the Hockey Happy Hour, 10 o'clock. Obviously, no Cromer, no Chuckster tonight. We missed them. So they'll be back next week. And I hope, hope we did a good enough job for you out there, guys.
Hopefully.
Before we stepped up. Boyo, thank you. Dre, I don't know. Why would he want to come? Then I'm going to go on this side. Why would he want to come?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll be disgruntled here.
And I'll say, don't forget, still plenty of time, a couple hours left. March Madness starts tomorrow again, the A2D Bracket Challenge. Still plenty of time to get in. That's all the details up on the Facebook and Twitter, so make sure to check it out.
Yeah, get in there. It's $15 a bracket. You can do up to 5. And the $10 goes to winner, obviously, and then $5 is going to the Port All Campus, and them losing out on a bunch of stuff from a fire. And I don't laugh at that, but a fire that took place down on the Ocean City Boardwalk that affected not only their business, but about 10 others. So anything we can do, we did it with our Super Bowl Blackpool. We were able to get them over, $400 or $500, I believe, and hopefully be able to raise a little bit more money for them here. And then obviously let people win money too. So combo. And we were brought to you by our doc, make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Body Check Wellness. Go check them out. I think clarity and focus, endurance and energy. They got great CBD products as well. And go treat them. I got a little like a little rub thing that you can rub on, right? And I can play a little ball right now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, oh, okay, you play a little ball. Feel good.
Sorry, knock a little bit.
Yeah, well, listen, LeBron puts $1 million into his body a year.
Yeah.
So take care of that thing. And I'm not a great take care of her, but take care of it. BodyCheckWellness.com, promo code A2D, 20% off at checkout. For Jeff Warner, Pete Evans, Tom Arnone, our family out there did you guys bring the comments? You're sensational. I freaking love every one of you. And we literally do it. Like we know that we can come on and just fire it up. And you guys are going to bring it. And Joe's just go. So go bring it for the Hockey Happy Hour, boys. Talking big Flyers win, if you want to call it a big one. A big response win. I won a lot of money on them tonight because I feel like if they didn't win this game, they might as well just fire everybody. So, yeah, a little bit more jacked up about it. I'm sure Maddie, Dales, and Pove will be as too. So, good night, everybody. Turn your damn alerts on. We out.